Good Saturday evening. How is everybody? Straight shooter. Okay. I see your messages. Anthony, a blessed day for Dalton. Blessed day for all of us. French wrench. Wyoming, my favorite gal. How are you? Good to see everybody. BP Capital, I've been promising this forever. I need to, yes, very beautiful day. Enjoying the coast. Did I tell you my brother lives in Oregon? Oh, yes, I did. I told you where to. Before I start, though, I promised a subscriber that I would show the debt that Dalton is in. So let's go to that. Make sure it's up there. Yep. Okay. Alrighty. So, this is coming from the Cook County Treasurer's Office. Okay, you got the city and village. On the last column, you'll see total debt of all local governments located within the city or village. Okay. And here's Dalton, Illinois. Whoops, sorry about that. Got caught on the table. $184,419,167. Okay. That's the debt. Now, there have been some other figures shown. Okay. But I wanted to bring that to that subscriber. I know you're working right now, but you can see it at the beginning of the video. Okay. Reload. It's so good to see you, Big Mike. How are you today? Oh, it finally rained there? Oh my gosh. Cynthia, Mouse Toes, how are you? It's good to see you. Okay, so this is why you see all these bonds, 4 bonds, they take out every year, millions of dollars plus interest, and they still owe the city of Chicago. They will not pay off that bill. This is a bill that they owed from 2017. The city had to sue Dalton for this money. This debt will not be paid off until 2028, as long as they keep up the payments. Okay. So that is the story with the debt that Dalton is in. And they have to keep taking out bonds every single year since 2009. You can see 2009 A, B, C, and then they take out a Homewood disposal bond every year. Believe me, don't believe me. Ask Clean House 2025 and Tiffany Henyard if you could find her. I hear she's in LA. Who knows? You would negate with the city of Chicago. Yep. Well, it's backwater. Plus, their regular water that they have to pay, right? And I apologize. I have my phone next to me and it's binging like crazy. Okay, so let me take that off. Take it off. I want to take it off. Oh, that's why. Okay, there it goes. Clicking on the wrong button, of course. Yeah. Mayor Riley Rogers. But they've been taking out bonds forever. Okay, so I've been working all day long since this morning getting this live stream ready. There's a lot. Okay, it's going to take hours to go through. Just invest in Dalton, not BP Capital. BP Capital is going to be mixed in with this, but I'm going to have to do a separate live because it's just insane the amount of information for invest in Dalton. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So, you want to know the end result first? Let's go to the end result of this mess that the board did. Yeah, BP stubs. Yep. That's why I call her. You betcha. And she knows why. Okay, so here's the end result of Invest with Dalton and BP Capital. May 9th, 2019.
Is old business item A, resolution number 19R-008, terminating a redevelopment agreement subject to fulfillment of Invest in Dalton requirement, BP Capital. Can I get a motion on this resolution?
I'd like to make a motion that we pass resolution number 19R-008.
Get a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to, for the termination of redevelopment agreement subject to fulfillment, Invest in Dalton requirement for BP Capital, resolution number 19R-008.
Okay, I want to pause here because you see a new board. Denton is still on the board. You have Ed Steve, Jason House, who is, I think, on the phone at this meeting. You also have Tammy Brown, Andrew Holmes, and Tiffany Henyard. Okay, this is the new board. Mohammed, Stubbs, and Pearson were voted out. Mohammed and Stubbs only had one term because of this fiasco and all the fighting that went on. Here we go.
Any discussion?
Yes, may I speak, Mayor?
Go ahead.
I just have a question. In terminating this agreement, that will involve us having to pay, I believe it was $45,000 per house. Is that my understanding? If we terminate this agreement with the company, then we're responsible to pay $45,000 for each house that he's not able to complete.
That $45,000 was in regards to the Invest in Dalton, not into the redevelopment agreement for BP Capital. So what this is saying, that we will go forward and fulfill, at this time, we'll go forward and fulfill the Invest in Dalton, which is the 6 houses that would apply to that penalty, but not subjected to the original agreement of all the other houses.
Thank you.
Okay,
And being recognized, Mayor.
go ahead.
This is the BP Capital was the highly unpopular thing that the last board passed, and we got this from Attorney Murphy that as of the Friday, they got 14 more homes. So I think it's a total of maybe 38, close to 40 something homes, and all these people transferred to a company called BLC Home Construction LLC, located in Northbrook, Illinois. So I just want to put that on the residents now and remember that this company that we're cutting the contract with now, majority of them homes went to outside owners, didn't go to homeowners or residents of Dalton, and went to investors. So just remember that. So that's why we're cutting it for sure.
And we're researching who that LLC company is.
Okay, so it was supposed to be Invest in Dalton was supposed to be 6 houses. Okay, and now the village has to pay $45,000 per house. Okay, and as you heard Ed Steve say, it was highly unpopular. They went to court. They spent thousands of dollars. $5,000 per house to Attorney Bass, plus pro champs. It was an absolute mess, and it cost the village a lot of money. Okay. Hey, Potato, how are you feeling? I've been praying for you. Hey, Tracy K. Yeah, there's going to be one that kind of has an echo, but not this one.
Yes. We know that the first house that was put on the market, that was put on the market and sold for, what was it, 142,000?
147.
157,000.
47.
47,000 was sold by the the law partner of Anthony Bass' son. His law partner, Anthony Bass's law partner, Rosso. That house was sold by his son. We feel there's a conflict of interest, certainly, but that's going to be looked into. It actually is being looked into right now. Any further discussion on this?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure I understand what this is going to do. This is to give back all the properties, or is it the ones they are currently going after?
The ones that's currently going out.
Okay, for instance, they got what, 20 or so properties that they got that we gave them the deed to?
About 38, from what I understand now.
Okay, and then you just said that they got 14 more as of Friday?
That's included.
Including,
Is included in 38?
yes.
Okay, so are we trying to reverse that, or what exactly
Well,
will
at this
we be
point, I
doing?
don't think we can reverse it. The liens have been entered into court. It was granted by the court. The deeds have been issued, and the clerk, Madam Clerk, signed off on Friday.
Okay, so we just canceling the agreement. We're not basically taking back the 38 houses, right?
Right,
All right, got it.
yeah. Okay, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Denton.
Yes.
Trustee Steve.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Trustee House? Hello?
Lost him.
You want to dial them back?
Oh, he's on the,
No, it was on mute. I'm sorry.
aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Holmes.
Aye.
Trustee Hendrick.
Aye.
Six ayes, motion passed. Next thing,
Okay. So that was the end result of Invest in Dalton and BP Capital. But they still are going to have trouble with BP Capital. BP Capital went in and took homes that were prime and didn't need a lot of work. And they kicked a lot of people out of their homes, which we'll hear their statements as well. But like I said, these two programs were kind of intertwined, but they said they weren't. Okay. And you just heard that they bought up more properties. Invest in Dalton was supposed to be 6 homes to go to homeowners only. And you just heard from Mayor Riley Rogers that they went to investors. One specifically was to the attorney's relative. So, yes, both channels are chatting at once. I've got it on both channels. Yeah, I liked Mary Kay too. Too bad we can't see her minutes. Hey, Chris Allen, how are you? How are you doing? Good to see you here. I'm sorry you're feeling like crap, Potato. And I hope I noticed everybody in the chat. So, and about chats, I don't have control of the chat. The mods do. So, if you've done something the mods feel is disrespectful, you're gonna get booted. That's all there is to it. Hey, Karen, good to see you. Did I email you back? I hope. Oh dear Lord. But I've been working all day on this project. So please hit the like button. Okay, so that's the end result of Invest in Dalton and kind of the end result of BP Capital. Like I said, they're supposedly 2 different programs, but they had the same attorneys and they confused the residents like nothing else. And it was a fiasco. So let's find out how it all started and we'll lay it right out all the way through until the end, which you just saw. Okay, here we go. Whew.
Invest in Dalton Home Renovation Ownership Program.
May I be recognized, Mayor?
Go ahead, trustee.
I want to open up by saying this is a momentous occasion, what we're about to launch,
Yeah,
establishing
sure
Invest in Dalton, which is a program to auction vacant homes owned by the Village of Dalton to be rehabilitated for owner occupancy. And I want to stress owner occupancy.
That didn't happen. That didn't happen, and you just heard from Ed Steve and Mayor Rogers. That didn't happen. Okay, I'll shut up now.
Not investor slash renter. This is an initiative to get the abandoned homes off of the abandoned list. When we go door to door talking to our fellow residents of Dalton, one of the biggest complaints, trustee, what are you going to do about these abandoned homes? Whether they're foreclosed, bank owned, or whatever, I don't know what they are. I know they're abandoned and they're an eyesore. Not only are they an eyesore, but they cause all types of issues. One of them that you may or may not know about is a vermin problem. Raccoons, possums, and they're not paying any rent. They're in there rent-free, mortgage-free. So what we're trying to do, make an attempt in a very small way, is do a few houses at a time. And what we would like to do in doing so, I would ask if Trustee Denton would read the first page of this ordinance that we would like to introduce into the record for our Invest in Dalton program. Trustee Denton.
Thank you, trustee. An ordinance establishing Invest in Dalton, a program to auction vacant homes owned by the Village of Dalton to be rehabilitated for owner occupancy. Whereas the Village of Dalton is a home rule unit of local government pursuant to the provisions of Article 7, Section 6 of the Illinois Constitution, and whereas a home rule unit of local government, the village may exercise any power and perform any function pertaining to its government and affairs, except as limited in accordance with Article 7, Section 6 of the Illinois Constitution, and whereas vacant properties are unsightly and diminish neighboring property values and a neighbor's sense of well-being, and by allowing vacant properties to remain indefinitely vacant, even in the absence of code violations, is detrimental to the interests of the public health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the village. And whereas vacant properties often have numerous code violations, tax delinquent and/or fines and fees that result in greater financial costs to the village. And whereas on May 1st, 2017, the village corporate authorities adopted Ordinance 17-013 to eradicate vacant and abandoned property within its borders. And whereas the village has over 400 vacant homes, creating a loss of over $2 million in real estate property taxes, thereby causing an increase in real estate property taxes to all remaining property owners in the village. And whereas the over 400 vacant properties create a loss of more than $200,000 in sales taxes associated with those homes directly to the village. And whereas vacant properties create an increase in insurance rates and a loss in property values, which negatively affect the growth of the village. And whereas the vacant properties require the village to use tax dollars to maintain and secure these properties, which reduce funds needed for other vital village services, such as police and fire. And whereas the corporate authorities seek to reduce the number of vacant homes by allowing village residents, village employees, and those seeking to reside in Dalton an opportunity to obtain home ownership at an affordable price. And whereas the abatement of nuances caused by such properties, the repair and rehabilitation of such properties, and their subsequent occupancy is recognized in the best interests of the residents of the village. And whereas the village has the authority pursuant to the laws of the state of Illinois to promote health, safety, and welfare of the village and its inhabitants, to prevent the presence of blight, to encourage private development in order to enhance the local tax base, to increase additional tax revenues realized by the village, foster increased economic activity within the village, to increase employment opportunity within the village, and to enter into contractual agreement with third parties for the purpose of achieving the aforesaid purposes and otherwise take action in the best interest of the village. And whereas the corporate authorities have determined that it is desirable and in the village's best interest to assist potential home buyers in the manner set forth herein, and as may be supplemented and amended by rules established by the village board. And whereas the corporate authorities acknowledge and agree, but for this Invest in Dalton initiative provided by the village, potential homeowners can not successfully and economically rehabilitate the vacant property in a manner satisfactory to the village. And whereas the corporate authorities have concluded that it is in the best interests of health, safety, and welfare of its residents to authorize the acquisition and sale of vacant residential properties through the village program entitled Invest in Dalton, a program to raffle or auction village-owned vacant homes to village residents, village employees, or any person who seeks to live and own a home in Dalton to rehabilitate said home to comply with all village codes. And whereas the corporate authorities have concluded that its residents, city employees, and first-time home buyers who seek to participate in this program will need assistance. Therefore, a housing fair with various lenders, contractors, and housing counselors has been scheduled. And whereas the corporate authorities understand that this program will restore tax delinquent properties to the tax rolls, increase home ownership for families, increase its tax revenues collection, reduce crime, improve public health safety, increase property values, and stabilize the growth of its community.
Thank you, Trustee Denton. Thank you. That's basically the meat of this ordinance, but what I would like to do to get even more clarity, I would like to have Robert Mangaracina to come forward, and he represents Homebridge. And Robert, I would like for you to explain what you do and how you can be helpful in securing these homes for persons who are doing a rehab, which is, I believe, a 203K. If you can go to the podium and help our residents to understand what your part could be in helping us and initiating the Invest in Dalton plan.
First of all, the renovation loan program, it was originally designed to help with situations just like this, homes that were foreclosed on or not taken care of. Lenders today will not allow a home buyer to purchase and
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt. Mouse Toes, I'm on 2 channels, Conscious and Conscious 2.0. I'm not sure which channel French is on. Okay, I apologize.
finance a property that needs work. The home needs to be in a good standard. If it's an FHA loan, the mechanicals have to have a certain amount of life left in them, 2 years of life in the furnace and the hot water heater, even the roof. What the renovation loan does, and there's 2 different types of renovation loans. There's an FHA 203K that you referenced. There's also a conventional program. What they will do is allow the home buyer to actually finance the needed repairs into one loan. So in this case, and I've heard that you might raffle some homes or you might sell them for $5,000. Whatever the case, if the example is they're purchasing the home for $5,000, it needs $40,000 or $50,000 of renovation to bring the home up to a livable standard. We'll add that $40,000 or $50,000 to their loan, and then disperse that money to the contractor after closing, after the work is being completed. So it's ideal for that home purchaser who needs to renovate the home in order to live in the home.
I hate to put taxpayer on there, but that's our ultimate goal, is to put these homes on the tax rolls. I make no bones about it. I'd love to see all these homes put back on the tax rolls, and I'd love to see all these homes owner-occupied as opposed to investor-occupied. Thank you. Okay, if there is no more questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve this ordinance number, which has not been designated a number as of yet, but an ordinance that's establishing Invest in Dalton, a program to auction vacant homes owned by the Village of Dalton to be rehabilitated for owner occupancy.
After speaking with our village attorney, he was emailed a copy of this ordinance along with the village clerk on Tuesday at 1:50 p.m., where he was out of his office. And he has not had a chance to review this ordinance. It wasn't written by a village attorney based upon his suggestion, and myself even just getting it just right now before this meeting, based upon his recommendation, I should say, he's advising me to veto this ordinance at the next meeting, because usually our village attorney writes the ordinances. So he has not went through this, and I think, based on that, and he is our village attorney, I think we need, whether it's guidance or review of this ordinance, I think he should have an opportunity to review it and go through it to see if, in fact, it's something that's advantageous for the village.
Okay, Mayor, I can appreciate that, him reviewing it, but as far as a veto is concerned, I don't see the need of vetoing this ordinance come December 4th, slowing down the progress of us doing this program, Invest in Dalton. This ordinance was not put together by the trustees, but with the input of trustees by a lawyer that is certified in the state of Illinois and the county of Cook. My advice, I humbly suggest, do not veto this, because you're slowing up the progress of us eliminating abandoned homes in the village of Dalton that can go into viable homeowners' hands. But to veto an ordinance because our attorney hasn't looked at it, you got between now and December 4th to look at this. I mean, it only takes a day or so, and from my understanding, and he's an attorney did it, is basic language. But to veto an ordinance against Invest in Dalton, I would humbly suggest not to do a veto, but to take the advice of the attorney at least and look at it and get back to us, and any corrections or addendums that we need to make. But to veto it straight out, I disagree with that vehemently.
Well, you already said there was no ordinance number, right? Okay. Remember, owner occupied, right? Didn't happen. Ed Steve said that. Mayor Rogers said that. But they want to push this thing. They want to push this through fast.
You can disagree. You have your right to disagree. But we've hired this attorney. He's been with us for 5 years. In the past, and along with yourself and other trustees, you've asked him to review other documents. And I think he needs to have an opportunity, since he represents the village and represents any litigation that may come out of this, if any, to review it. To speedily send an email to just him and the clerk. And I'm not sure if you talked to those trustees. Maybe you did, but I didn't see an email come to me and or the trustees. I think he deserves an opportunity to review it. Now, when you talk, I got no problem with us trying to put these abandoned properties on the tax roll, put a program in place to do that. But, whether it's 2 weeks or 30 days, I don't think it's going to make a big difference in regards to putting the program in place. We're coming into the holiday season. There's a lot of people going to be on vacations. So what's wrong with our village attorney reviewing this process?
Can I respond? Was that a rhetorical? Okay. Again, I'm sensing resistance to this program by you, Mayor, and I'll state why. As you well know, and all the trustees here along with the clerk, since our last board meeting, I've sent an email to you, your communications person, your media person, to promote this event December 2nd.
That's not on the agenda, sir,
I said
and we're not
three.
discussing that.
It has to do with this
Not on
agenda.
the
Yes, it
agenda,
does.
sir.
It has to do with the
And
promotion.
We're not discussing that. It's not on the
It has
agenda.
to do with the
I'm not
promotion.
going to go back and forth with
It
you.
has to do with
We're
the
not gonna
promotion
discuss that. It's
of
not
the
on the,
Invest
it's
in
not on the
Dalton.
agenda, okay?
Now, again,
Take the
hopefully
vote.
that you
Take
will
the
not
vote,
edit
Madam
this
Clerk.
out like you have
Take the
done
vote.
in the
Take-
past.
Take the vote, Madam Clerk.
We're still in discussion.
Take the, we're not in discussion anymore. Take the vote, Madam Clerk.
On the motion to approve the ordinance, which would be ordinance number 17-048 for everyone's information, establishing Invest in Dalton.
Oh, I apologize. There was
Motion
one
by
that-
trustee Muhammad, second by trustee Pearson. Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
No.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 no.
Okay, so Jason House voted no. And he's gonna continue to say no. Okay. All right. This took me all day. When I say all day, I mean all day. Here we go.
Anyone here want to approach this body for citizens' address?
And I apologize. I think I got the year wrong on the first one. I believe that said 2018. Yeah. And it was actually 2017. I apologize for that. There we go.
Anyone here want to approach this body for citizens' address?
He wants to push this through fast. He doesn't want to wait a couple months. And he doesn't want the mayor to veto it. So, there we go. Okay, here we go.
It has to be limited to tonight's discussion. To the agenda.
Good evening, good afternoon, Mrs. Creighton. I'd just like to address the
Sharon.
board as a whole. I think the idea is great. I think that there are young couples in the village of Dalton that could benefit from this. I do hope that all heads can come together to put the properties back on the tax roll, or even to allow the young people, the young adults, to stay here in the village of Dalton. Excuse me, this is what I hear over and over again, that there is nothing going on in Dalton. Mayor and trustees, I agree that the attorney should look at it, and I do agree that there's time to look at it. So, but I do think it's important that we move forward to put the properties back on the tax roll. I think that is essential for our growth. We've brought in City Trends, we've brought in a beauty supply store. Now let's go back and get things back to those young couples that we want to stay here in the village of Dalton. When I moved into Dalton in 1980, it was beginner homes. We don't have that anymore. If we have all these properties just sitting and we can put them back on the tax roll, why not? I agree with everyone. Please have the attorney look at it. But I did hear that there was an attorney that put the ordinance together. So maybe they can come together. I don't know.
You're right.
But when I saw the agenda, it says Invest in Dalton, Home Renovation and Ownership Program. I think that's phenomenal. All the young people that I talk to don't have to go somewhere else because there's nothing for them. They can't afford to rent with options to buy because of the rent being $1,700, $1,300. So at $700, $800, I think that's affordable for a beginning couple. So I would ask all of you, please, please consider coming together so that we can reinvest in the village of Dalton. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Creighton.
May I say something, Ms. Creighton? When I came to Dalton, I purchased a home here in Dalton, and it was a HUD building. And I put my money in it and invested and put it back together. And that got a building, a piece of property back on the tax roll. And I thought this was a great idea. I still think it's a great idea. I went around myself and looked at a lot of the homes that is being offered. This is my vision for the village that I've been living in for the last 18 years. 18 years I came to Dalton and invested in a HUD building and put it back together. And this is a great idea.
It's not a hood building. It's a HUD building, I believe. Right?
If we can get these houses back on the tax roll so we can get revenue, and for the young people, like Ms. Creighton stated, we have the opportunity to get a small mortgage. $700-800, that's great for a single family. And as I was going around viewing the homes, they were starter homes for young people, and some of them didn't need a whole lot of work. So we had an attorney put this together. We have ample time for Attorney Murphy to look at this, and I don't see the need of a veto either, because we have wasted enough time with all the abandoned homes out here and not coming up with a program to get homeowners and not investors. One investor out here have 90 homes. I'm not going to call his name. Another one have 40 homes. Everybody needs some place to live, but why not give these people an opportunity, our young people, our employees? The first thing I looked at was our employees that work right here for the village of Dalton, to have an opportunity to purchase a home with very little cost. And when you go in there and rehab it, that's just like having a brand new home with new appliances, new cabinets, new flooring, just like I did my home.
Thank you, Trustee. Beth?
Hi, my name is Beth McBride. I'm a citizen of the village of Dalton for 18 years. One of the experiences that we lived through is we lived on the west side in the family building, and I had to live in very bad conditions. And we came here, and I want people to have a nice house. And when we went through the process of purchasing our home, there was a lot of details that had to be looked at. There were inspections that had to be made. The first two houses that we put bids on, we didn't get the bid on those houses. So I've lived through the experience of buying a house, and the whole process is a very delicate, important process. Before my son was born 30 years ago, I worked for Inland Property Management, and they are a commercial real estate company, and I got to know my supervisor very well. She was a paralegal and accountant, and I got to know a few things about real estate. And one thing about real estate is this, that if you push things through too quickly, it can cause legal problems later. So we're talking about an issue where we need our village of attorney who represents us here as residents. We as residents, we're represented by our village attorney, and any issues that can occur with this process of these homes being rehabbed should be looked at by him also before this ordinance goes on the books. We are represented by the mayor and you as trustees, and you have a moral obligation for that attorney that represents us to look at that whole ordinance. We really need him to look at it before it goes into place. It's very important that every head comes together. When Inland Property Management would put a real estate deal together, sometimes they had to go in the law library and look at law to make sure that deal was correct. And they had to sit down at the table with attorneys before they would buy a building on Lakeshore Drive or before they would sell one on Sheridan. They didn't just have one attorney look at anything. And it's important that the village attorney that represents us look at this. No, it's enough.
Thank you. I don't think I mentioned the fact that I'm trying to stop anybody from purchasing any homes, whether young or old, or whether investors or whatever. You mentioned that you had high discussions on regards to putting things back on the tax rolls. Well, since this administration has been in office, we've sold over 600 homes
to investors.
They were not all to investors, and I can substantiate that. So those houses that were abandoned and some that were occupied, they went back on the tax rolls. So it's not the fact that we're not trying to put properties back on the tax rolls or sell properties and things like that, but I don't see the objection to having our legal counsel review this ordinance.
Mayor, can I speak, please?
Go ahead.
I understand you want the village attorney to look at it, but as Trustee Muhammad and Trustee Stubbs said, he could look at it so that we could avoid a veto. I don't know what we would be waiting for. Every time you talk to a resident, they're concerned about these properties.
And so am I.
And where are they going to go? I mean, why would we want to stop getting these houses back on the tax roll?
No one said anything about stopping.
Yeah, but to veto it instead of, you didn't say you would work with the attorney over the next week to see if we could come to a meeting of the minds. You said, I'm going to veto this on December 4th.
I did not. I said, and we can play it back.
Okay.
Based upon the recommendation of our village attorney, he advised me to veto this so he can have an opportunity to go through it. There may be something we want to add. There may be something we want to take out. You know, but I know the attorney that you had put this together didn't do it in one day without doing some research or doing some background and putting things in place. But at his convenience, so I just don't see. Why do we have to rush into everything without representation on our end?
Can I be recognized, Mayor, if Trustee Pearson is done?
No, we're going to move further, and I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Well, I was almost done, Mayor. I just wanted to say that this board is committed to trying to turn these properties around and turn them over to young people or any resident, anybody that wants to become a resident or is a resident of this community. We want to see them in a home,
yes,
and not somewhere paying $1,700 to somebody who lives in Minnesota and don't come to see about it, don't care about it. We want homeowners here. It would make the community much better, because when you get people that's going to pay for property, they take care of property, or at least you have a better chance at them taking care of the property. So this board is committed to getting this program off the ground. And if we hit a snag or two, so be it. We'll straighten it out. We'll keep right on going. And hopefully next year this time, we've gotten rid of a couple hundred houses.
Okay.
If you hit a snag, so be it. Pearson. And we've seen Pearson and Muhammad backing up Stubbs for trustee. Hi, Bear. You missed the mouse that just came out of your jar of cat food. I'm not kidding you. A mouse just jumped. We have a jar for cat food. A mouse just jumped out. Go find the mouse. I'm sorry. If you hit a snag, we'll just deal with it then. That doesn't make any sense.
This is my last comment. I'm not against a program of home ownership, whether young or old. Secondly, if we can avoid a snag before it happens, that's what we should do. That's why I want a legal counsel to take a look at this. I'd like to get a motion. I'd like to get a motion.
It makes no sense because if you veto on the
30
4th, our
days,
next meeting is
30
not till
days.
January.
30
So you're
days.
stalling this program
30
almost for
days
2
is not
months,
gonna
Mayor,
make a
and
difference.
vetoing something that your
person-
council can look at in 1 day. Doesn't take 30 to 60 days to do this program.
Right.
The attorney that wrote this up works with Mr. Murphy.
I'd like
They
to get
know
a
each
Murphy.
other well.
I'd like.
So for you to stop
Right.
this program,
Well,
it's egregious, Mayor.
I'm not stopping it. You
If
voted.
you veto it, you're stopping
You
it.
voted. You voted on it.
I
It's
can't
based
believe
upon the
there are voices in
recommendation.
agreement with that.
Based upon the
when we have
recommendation of
a
our village
foreclosure
attorney.
problem in the village of Dalton.
I'd like to get a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Robert, don't.
Citizens' address is concluded.
Yes.
There's no other order of business.
Right. I guess they just want to sit here.
Gotta be.
There's discussion on the matter, Mayor.
No more discussion.
Well, if you don't have your motion failed, the residents need to know by you making a veto on this movement.
There's no
on
more
December
discussion on
4th,
this. I'm not gonna-
On December 4th, and you can walk out like you normally do at other meetings when you don't get your way.
Trustee,
But the people need to
trustee.
know by you vetoing this on the
Trustee.
4th, Mayor, our next meeting is not till January.
Trustee.
Next year.
I'm basing my decision on a recommendation of our legal counsel.
Legal counsel received this ordinance along with the clerk, as you stated earlier.
Yeah.
That's recorded.
Right.
It was not necessary to send it to the mayor. That's why I sent it to legal counsel like we've done other ordinance that were done on
And he has
outside
other work
counsel
that he was
that were
doing.
approved.
He had other work that he was doing.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'd like to remind the board that this is citizens' address, and there being no citizens coming forward.
Citizens address.
Say something.
Well, you asked for a motion to adjourn, and you didn't get one.
Motion failed.
There was no motion, trustee.
Motion failed.
Good afternoon.
Speak into the mic, Reverend.
Good afternoon. I'm in total favor of this program. I think the residents of Dalton should have an opportunity to purchase houses. You have families here that's been living here for 30 and 40 years. I've been here for 31 years in my house, and in all honesty, if I could sell my house right about now, I'd really move out of Dalton, but that's neither here nor there. There are people that live here that are interested in becoming homeowners. So I commend the mayor and the trustees for wanting to bring this program forth. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it will benefit not only the people that live in this community, but it would also benefit the village of Dalton in taking properties and putting them back on the tax roll and having not only money coming back into the village, but you have a straw of people constantly coming that can shop in our community as we move forward. But my question is, I totally understand Attorney Murphy and the mayor as far as needing to look this document over. I don't know when he got the documentation. I believe that he should have an opportunity to look it over thoroughly to make sure that there are nothing that can come up at a later date. I think that's just smart business tactics. I don't think, Mayor, in your comment that the attorney said you should veto this right away. I do understand what the trustees are saying, that if you veto this, it's going to take longer for you to get this program started. So my question is, what's the time frame that the attorney could look at this document before the next board meeting of December 4th, so you avoid vetoing this and maybe you all can come together collectively and vote on this and get this ordinance passed so that this program can move forward? So what would be the time frame that the Attorney Murphy can look at the document before the December 4th meeting, so that there does not have to be a veto. There would be a thing that if he looks at the document and there's some things that need to be changed in the documentation, that it gets changed so that you all can move forward without having to do a veto. I think a veto is kind of drastic.
Well, I don't know Attorney Murphy's schedule, but he did say he had court appointments. It was sent out at 1:50 on Tuesday. That's a little bit over 48 hours.
I concur.
He did not read it at 1:50 because of other assignments. Based upon his recommendation, I'm thinking that his schedule is kind of full. Based upon his recommendations, because I just called him before this meeting started, he said, Mayor, I didn't get a chance to review this. I just got it, within the last 2 days. He said, I would recommend that you veto it on Monday until I can get a chance to go through it. Now, I didn't want, and we discussed whether I should tell you tonight or not even tell you at all and just show up Monday with a veto. So we're not trying to pull any punches here, because I didn't have to announce his recommendation. We could have just showed up on Monday night and put it on the desk of the trustees, just like this was put on the desk of us right now. So with this being put on the desk right now, you think probably some of the trustees who have talked together with each other, but I know myself, I know Trustee House, we just got this lengthy ordinance. And I think it's good business. And if you're represented by an attorney based on a house, I think it's good business to have your attorney review it, somebody who you have confidence in to review it and try to keep you out of litigation if, in fact, it could go that way.
Timing is everything.
Pardon me?
Timing is everything.
You're exactly right. The other thing is that I'm not against the program, and I'm not against people trying to move in Dalton. Matter of fact, I promote Dalton all the time, and that's why on some occasions we've got new businesses. It's very stressful to get businesses and people to move into Dalton, especially when they hear certain things about, Dalton.
That's true.
It carries a stigma.
I've heard a lot of that.
But as my job, as one of the duties of my job, is to try to make this a better community, promote this community, sell this community, make sure residents stay in this community, and there's a cost to that, So as far as homes being sold, there are homes being sold, sure, to some investors, and it's a catch-22. We don't want a town full of investors. However, they do put those properties that they buy back on the tax roll. Now, would I like to see home owner-occupied homes? Certainly. One of our employees right there just closed on a deal 2 days ago from the city of Chicago. He's been working here for 3 or 4 years. He was convinced to make an investment here in Dalton. Just moved in yesterday.
Congratulations.
And I'm gonna tell you, for the last 2 years and 3 years, I've been convincing him or trying to convince him to move to Dalton, because you know what? He's 3 minutes from work. He's three minutes from work. He has 2 children. The next thing is to find a good school for his child to come here in Dalton. So I'm not trying to avoid ownership and put people in homes here.
No, I didn't get that impression that you were.
There's vacancy in all these communities. Don't think that Orland Park don't have any vacancies, or Tinley Park, or South Holland, or Riverdale, and other communities that adjoin us, or our neighboring communities, or southern suburbs. Don't think that. They have problems. They have problems too. So I'm not trying to stop this program. I'm not trying to have young people come into this program, buy homes here. What I'm trying to do is keep us possibly out of litigation and give our village attorney, who we hired and who we've had confidence in, an opportunity to review this program.
I gather that. So again, my next question would be, seeing as how this is November 30th, December 4th is the next board meeting. if Attorney Murphy does not get to this between today and December the 4th, as early as December 4th? Will you veto this program?
I'm not answering that.
Ms. White, can I respond to you, please? And I appreciate you appreciating the time frame, but just as a reminder to the residents in this board, our last board meeting, I announced us having this special board meeting. The attorney was put on notice, the clerk was put on notice, the trustees were put on notice that we will be introducing an ordinance for the special board meeting being held today. It's not a rush job. Everybody was put on notice. The clerk received this the same time our attorney received it. We have one of the best attorneys in the city or the state of Illinois. It doesn't take days to review an ordinance, especially written by a fellow attorney. He uses the same legalese language that they use. An attorney knows what to look for. It takes me as a layperson maybe 10 to 15 minutes to read it slowly, because I'm trying to proofread it as I'm reading, but an attorney can look at that. He had ample time to go over this ordinance from Tuesday up until today to counsel the mayor that this is a good ordinance. Of course, when he looks over it, you're going to find that the ordinance is fine. But now we've delayed this program of getting residents in our village to get into these starter homes, to put these homes back on the tax roll, because a political maneuver is being made to stall this program. That's all it is. It's a political move because it did not come out of the mind of the mayor, and it came out of the mind of the trustees collaborating. You saw the vote. There is no division up here on the vote. The division came with the mayor talking about vetoing something that he claims that the attorney told him that he should do.
Boy, I tell you.
Well, my prayer is that you all, that Attorney Murphy looks at this, and that on December 4th, that this passes without a problem. I pray that you all continuously to strive to come together for the good of the community, because that's what we voted for you all to sit in those seats and make decisions for the community. So I pray that you all come together collectively and do what's right for the community. I understand both sides, and going back and forth really doesn't get anything solved, and I understand that timing is everything for everyone to get documentation in a timely manner, but I just pray that this program comes forth because it's badly needed. I know a lot of people that would love to have their children purchase homes in the community that they have grown up in. So my prayer is that you all come together as a unit and make it happen. God bless you.
You know, Attorney Bass and Attorney Murphy know each other, and there is, I'm sure, a relationship between them that they could pick up the phone and they could talk to each other. Hey, what do you think? And settle this probably in less than a half an hour. It's written in language that an attorney can look at it in a matter of minutes and tell you if it's a problem with the ordinance. This is just a maneuver to delay this until January, and that's all it's going to be, is a delay. I hate to see that happen, but this board is committed to this program.
Thank you, trustee. That concludes citizens' address. I'd like to get a motion to adjourn.
Come on.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
The motion.
Yeah, what's the rush? 2 months? I don't know what the rush is. The program didn't even work out anyways, as we'll see. Okay. Here comes, let me see. Where are we at? Here we are. November. Again, November 20th, 2017.
Is housing fair. Item E, Trustee Muhammad.
Thank you, Mayor. The trustees of Dalton, we are kicking off an Invest in Dalton program. It's open to the village employees and you who are looking to live in our community of Dalton. You can come to our housing fair where you can have a home for less than $50,000. Why continue to pay rent when you can own? This fair is for potential homeowners, not investors. We will have contractors, plumbers, electricians, banks for financing, and counseling for attendees at this housing fair. This takes place Saturday, December 2nd from 4 to 6 p.m. The location is New Zion Covenant Church at 14200 Chicago Road. To RSVP, you can call 708-888-0344. Again, we have the village has access to approximately, how many? It's about 9 homes, Trustee Stubbs?
Yes.
We have 9 homes that are abandoned properties that will be...
I thought it was 6. Now it's 9.
sold at it as is. We'll go into the detail of those properties. We'll go into the detail of the financing of those properties at the housing fair located at the New Zion Covenant Church on Saturday, December 2nd. And at this point, I would like to make a motion for a special board meeting on November 30th at 3 p.m. Concerning this, to put in the ordinance into effect.
Second.
And the ordinance, can I get a second and a vote on that? And I'll tell you what the ordinance is.
Second.
Okay, if I can finish discussion, the ordinance will be concerning an ordinance establishing Invest in Dalton, a program to renovate vacant homes, creating home ownership for the residents of Dalton. And we'll go into the details of that ordinance. It'll be submitted for the record and also for our attorney at that special board meeting on, I believe that's Friday, November 30th at 3 p.m.
It's a Thursday, isn't it?
Did I get a second?
Second.
The only thing on the floor is the motion for a special board meeting, is that it?
Yes,
To discuss the Invest in Dalton program?
correct.
I'm sorry, motion by trustee Muhammad, second by,
Stubbs.
and just for correction, that would be Thursday?
Whatever day that
The
the 30th
30th.
falls on. I believe that is a Thursday. I don't have my calendar in front of me.
Right.
For 3 p.m.
Motion by trustee Muhammad, second by trustee Stubbs for 11:30 at 3 p.m. Okay. Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henry.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 ayes.
Okay. Jiminy crickets. There's a lot, people. There's a lot. But why didn't they have the village attorney write up the contract? Why did they go to a different attorney? That's something I never understood. Roger said that the attorney writes most of the ordinances, so why a different attorney? I didn't get that. But here we go. This is going to be February 2018. Yeah, mouse toes.
Item A, payment of $30,000 to Grasso Bass PC for Invest in Dalton. Can I get a motion to make the payment of $30,000 to Grasso Bass PC for Invest in Dalton?
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to move to continue.
Second.
To continue or to table?
To continue.
To when?
We'll indicate to the clerk on the date.
Okay, but not today.
No, sir.
Okay.
Trustee, from what I understand from your motion, that is equivalent to a motion to table indefinitely, which means, of course, that the board can bring it up in the future, but it will not be on the agenda unless the trustees choose to place it on the agenda. Okay.
Okay, new business. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we need a vote.
So, motion to continue, equivalent to a motion to table. Motion by trustee Stubbs, second by trustee Muhammad. Roll call, trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House. Not here. Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson. Trustee Henyard, not here.
Motion passed.
Okay, so that's the continuation. Why? They were in a rush to get this done, but then they wanted to continue. I didn't understand that one either. Okay, here we go. We've got a lot lined up.
Then is old business. Item A, override of the mayoral veto for Invest in Dalton. Can I get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to reconsider ordinance number 17-048, Invest in Dalton, and overriding the mayor's veto and direct the Director of Finance to immediately pay all outstanding invoices from Grasso Bass for the Invest in Dalton program.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion.
And yes, they did pay the $30,000 to Grasso and Bass.
Motion and second to override my veto of the Invest in Dalton ordinance number 17-048. Any discussion? I'm going to discuss
I got
it.
a question.
Go ahead, trustee.
Attorney Murphy, can that not go into my committee so we can vet that through?
If a majority wanted to, yes.
Well, I think we should put it in committee. I am chair of housing. I think we should vet this through. I have some issues with it, which the board knows, so. Can you hear me now?
No, is it on?
Okay. I think this should be transferred to my committee, which I am the chairperson of housing. I do have some issues with this, which a lot of residents did as well when they came to the last committee meeting. I do not think we should execute this tonight. And this is all for the record, Mary Kay. It should go to committee. We should talk amongst trustees. If some trustees have issues with it, I think we should entertain that before we approve this. We do not have $30,000 just to pay out currently. Plus, we don't even have an invoice, so I don't even know what we're paying $30,000 for. So I will advise the board to please support me on having this in my committee, and then therefore we can vet it through, then put it up for board approval. I don't think it should get approved tonight. I would love y'all support if I can have it. So can I have a motion to send this to Housing Committee?
Trustee, before you do that motion, I'd like to say something too in regards to this matter. And I support Trustee Henry's decision to try to put this through committee.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on mute, so I don't know what it is.
Rediscuss this. We've been talking about this for the last few meetings. Here, Invest in Dalton, which I think you even voted for it initially, or you didn't vote for it, Trustee Hendrick?
I did.
Okay, but after looking at it, it's not good for us. I mean, to have an attorney bill us $5,000 per house to try to get these houses over to the village side is totally ludicrous. I mean, 6 houses, he's billing us $30,000 to file a lien on. Now, when you file this lien, it's only going to cost you about $300 to file the lien. It's going to cost you probably about another $75 or so to publish it in the newspaper. So we're looking at approximately $300, no more than $500. Now, when the attorney was here, he said that it cost $2,500 to do it, and the other $2,500 was for him doing it. That's totally not the case. So now they mentioned the fact, Dalton's got 400 abandoned houses. So you mean to tell me if we got 400 abandoned houses, and this attorney's going to represent us per household, how much money are we looking at? $2 million? Is that what we need to try to get these vacant houses to us? It's ridiculous. It doesn't cost that much for us to file liens. Matter of fact, our village attorney could do it, which wouldn't cost us any additional money like that. So I'm saying that this should go to committee. It needs to be looked at again. If we're going to continue to go that route, we need to renegotiate that cost, because we can't. You heard, trustee, we're struggling to try to get our fire trucks fixed. Where are we going to get this money to try to get these houses? So that's it.
I'm going to second Trustee Henry's motion.
We had a motion to override the veto and then by trustee Stubbs. And was there a second on that?
It's a second by Muhammad.
Okay. And then trustee Henyard asked to send to committee.
If I can make a statement
Go ahead, trustee.
before we take the vote. The mayor has vetoed a program that is a win for the village by putting foreclosed residents back on the tax rolls and bringing more residents to the village by providing affordable houses, as well as being a win for home ownership in the village of Dalton. The mayor has objected to costs for the program, falsely claiming that the village cannot afford those losses. He even went so far as to direct the media department, along with another elected official, to cut and edit a board meeting to tarnish the character of the attorney, possibly creating liability for libel and slander by distorting the video that was shown at a previous board meeting. Other towns and elected officials have been sued for the same conduct. The program costs will be recouped from those parties who participate in the Invest in Dalton program. Bottom line, there will be no cost to the village. The village will be getting taxes paid to help the village schools and park districts. The village will get permit fees, water bills paid, and no more costs to the village for board ups, grass cutting, and other expenses caused by abandoned properties. The attorney is and has charged the same fee to the Harvey, Markham, Posen, Thornton Township, and BP Capital. On one hand, at a previously housing meeting, the mayor and other elected officials stated that they were not against the Invest in Dalton program. And on the other hand, they showed a distorted video. You must ask yourself why someone would fight a program to help our village. My present house was an abandoned one for 5 years when I purchased it. It has been now on the tax roll for over 18 years, and my taxes are current. I hope all elected official taxes on their properties are current. We currently pay 3 lawyers. Neither look like Bass, and neither of them thought enough about us to help address this vacant properties, but got...
Pause. Neither one of them look like Bass. Bass is a black man. The village attorneys are white. I just wanted to point that out. Because Father's Blessings is going to call you racist, Stubbs. And you know it.
Paid for routine legal service, and nobody said a word. This is a political and not about what is in the best interest of our village, because if it were, we all would work to make this a success. Remember, it was Attorney Bass who represented the black towing company when the trustees had to override the mayor's veto. Here we have, again, seeking to override his veto to support black attorney who prepared and presented a program to help us. The mayor simply does not want to give the trustees he views as his opponents a win. Instead of doing what's right for the village, he is depriving our young people of an opportunity for home ownership, and that is disgraceful. So today I am standing up and asking each and every one of you to stand with me for our community. We went over to a house that had been rehabbed by BP Capital maybe 3 weeks ago. It was gutted. It took 3 months to be sold. Is now on the tax roll. The young lady and her son, they went through a program on how to be a good neighbor, and this is what we hope to.
Pause. Why do you have to have a course to be a good neighbor? What does that even mean? You have to take a course to be a good neighbor? Isn't that just common sense? You know, mow your grass and keep up your property. But okay, go ahead. Sorry.
To do throughout the village of Dalton. It does not take forever, as the mayor have stated. We will recoup our money. Matter of fact, Ms. Creighton, the house is not too far from you. We also invited residents to go with us. They saw the house. They talked to the people from the program, Ms. Johnson. And I'm asking all the trustees to support this so we can get the abandoned houses back on the tax roll. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, why not just go State Farm? Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I'm sorry, Karens. I didn't know it was a requirement. I just thought it was common sense, but... Oh, for HUD? You have to have a course to be a good neighbor. State Farm is there. Okay.
You're welcome. When BP Capital appeared here, and I think the gentleman from BP Capital is here, when he appeared here, he was represented by Attorney Bass. And in Invest Dalton program, the same attorney represented the village there.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Big Mike. I didn't know it was a thing. I honestly didn't. I never heard of it. But you see how now it's getting commingled with Investment Dalton and BP Capital. You can see right now how these two programs are really intertwined with the same attorney. Sorry for interrupting, but thank you, Big Mike.
Now, you mentioned the fact that BP Capital took possession of that house. What exactly did the village get once the house was sold? Did the village get any, that when that house went to BP Capital and whatever they sold it for, did the village share in the profit of that house?
I'm not looking for,
Why are we giving away houses for nothing?
Mayor.
And then the same attorney that represented BP Capital is representing Invest Dalton. And when he represented BP Capital, he said that it wasn't going to cost the village a dime. But on the other hand, when he does a litigation work, legal work, to get the house in possession of the village so we can get it to BP Capital, he's charging us $5,000 a house. How does that not cost the village anything? And why is not the village receiving some of the money, the revenue that the house was sold for by BP Capital? Why should BP Capital get all the money when we're paying for the legal end to give it to BP Capital?
BP Capital is paying their own fees, Mayor. He put up his own money,
Okay.
not the village of Dalton. And also, I would like to state this too, Mayor. That house is back on the tax roll. I would also like to state, as I was doing my little investigation, you have 6 houses, your taxes haven't been paid. That's a total of $115,000 that we really could use. The village of Dalton could really use that money.
Okay.
So, the gentleman is sitting in the audience.
Okay.
If he don't mind, he can come up and answer that question if you don't mind.
Well,
if you don't mind,
I asked
Mayor.
you since you presented it.
Okay.
I asked you since you presented it.
I just stated.
I
I
asked
just stated that he put up his own money.
how
He
much.
put up his own money.
We heard you.
He paid
We heard
Attorney
you.
Bass.
We heard you.
And the
But-
house
but-
is back on the tax roll.
But when-
Now, according to the records, and it's public records, you can look it up, the mayor have 6 houses out there with delinquent taxes that total up to $115,000. I would like to get that money. My taxes are paid. Public record, look up my record, and that's my houses in the city also. They're all paid up.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You good? You good now? How are we getting any money from BP Capital?
How are we getting any money from you with your 6 houses, Mayor?
How are we get
How are we getting any money from you?
the county?
The same thing
How-
go for you.
You're not
If you
giving me any
have
property.
houses in the village of Dalton that you rent out, that you own,
you know
and
what,
you're
Trustee?
not paying any taxes
Trustee.
on that, we're not getting any money from those houses either. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Trustee, how are we getting any money from BP Capital? We're giving them the house. If we give BP Capital 400 houses, how come we're not getting any money?
How come we are not getting any money from you, Mayor?
Now, if you want to get personal on some things, we can get personal on some things, because believe you me, I'm not going to say that.
Oh, I wish he would have said it. I wish he would have said it.
Thank you.
I got a motion to refer to the committee.
I'm not going to say that. There's a motion on the floor to refer this to the committee.
No, that's not the motion, Mayor.
That was the last motion.
No, the motion on the floor is to override, is to
damn right.
reconsider the override of the Invest in Dalton veto, Mayor. You have a motion and a second, and we're ready to take the vote.
Attorney Murphy. I have a motion on the floor to send this to committee, and I have a second.
I think procedurally, there's a two-step here is what the board's done in the past. First, there's the motion to reconsider, which will get the matter back on the table. Then there's the motion to actually override the veto, and at that point, you could move to amend that motion by referring the matter back to your committee. So I think we should just take the vote on the motion to reconsider first.
No one, so someone got to make that motion, correct?
It was made.
There's two of them made. The motion and the second.
The motion also included payment.
Yeah, I agree.
It's to override the veto, which,
No, it was override the veto.
Right, it was override, it
yeah,
wasn't
so
considered.
by overriding the veto, the ordinance is approved, which includes the payment, so.
On the motion to reconsider ordinance number 17-048, to put it back on the table. Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
No.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
No.
Okay, motion carries 4 ayes and 2 noes. That means that
It's on-
attorney will get $30,000.
Not yet.
That's to reconsider.
I would like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 17-048, Invest in Dalton.
Second.
And I would like to make a motion, I would like to amend that motion by sending it to my committee, which is planning.
Second.
What do we do?
We'll take a motion on, I view that as an amendment, take a vote on it. It's likely to be 4 against, 2 in favor, but let's just vote it.
No, with all due respect, Attorney, that was not the motion.
The motion by trustee Henry, you wanted to...
No, it is not by Trustee Henyard.
it
It was
is.
by Trustee Stubbs.
Okay, and then I amended your motion, Trustee
And it was
Muhammad.
seconded. It was
And it was
seconded.
seconded by Trustee House. Let the attorney do
No.
his job. You have to vote on that first. If it fails, then it goes back.
And I want to point out, Jason House is against this Invest in Dalton, BP Capital, as well as Trustee Henyard here.
So Mary Kay, can you
Okay,
please
attorney?
call
Yes,
the roll
that's-
on my
I
motion?
agree with that. So the vote to refer the matter to the committee should be taken. If that vote fails, then the
Exactly.
prime motion's back on the table.
On the motion to amend to send to committee by Trustee Henyard, second by Trustee House. Roll call, Trustee Muhammad.
No.
Trustee Stubbs.
No.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
No.
Trustee Pearson.
No.
Trustee Henyard.
Aye.
Now the main motion.
On the motion to override the mayor's veto of ordinance number 17-048. Motion was by trustee Stubbs, second by trustee Muhammad. Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Is there any discussion, Mayor?
I think we had it.
You want discussion? Go ahead. Not on this. Not on the
My
amendment.
question is for the record, the $30,000. Do anybody got invoices on the 30K? Because I don't have them. Before y'all approve this 30,000, get to the attorney. Do anybody got the invoices of what we paying 30,000 for? Can I please have that? Do anybody have that?
Okay.
Any trustees?
Hold on, ma'am. We have not received an invoice.
So what
As far as I know, but the 30,000 is for 6 houses that supposedly Attorney Bass had filed against for the village to take possession of. Now,
But Mayor, isn't the steps that people turn in invoices before we approve big money, especially like $30,000?
yeah, I think
And we
it
don't
should
have
be
any
on.
paper trail whatsoever of what we're paying for.
I think it should be on the warrant list too. It
I
wasn't on the
agree.
warrant list.
And that's
So-
for the record, Mary Kay.
So they asking for the immediate payment of $30,000 to this attorney, and once again, going back to Trustee Pearson, we're struggling to try to get our fire engine done. So in case you have an emergency at your house, the fire department will be there in that engine. But okay.
Motion to override.
Okay, we're going to do a roll call on the motion. I'm saying here that 2 of these trustees find merit in the fact that we shouldn't be paying this much money in this bill.
I think it should go to
You know?
committee. We should look into it before
And Trustee
we do it.
Henry has a excellent point in regards to it going to her committee, but some right.
I would like to move to call for question.
Second.
So is that okay, attorney? You sending your messages, so is that okay?
I would like to move to call for question, and she's not sending any money, any texts. His
Is that okay,
phone
attorney?
is down, and mine is in my purse.
Is that okay?
So I would like to move to call for question, and let's take a roll. It's been first and second.
Take the roll, Madam Clerk.
Mayor, I got one more statement before
Go
we
ahead.
take the roll.
Go ahead.
There's no discussion on the call the question, attorney. Would you
thank you.
advise?
We're going to hear it,
Second.
trustee. Thank you. We're going to hear it. Thank you.
Attorney
Go ahead.
Murphy.
Go ahead, trustee.
Attorney Murphy.
Go ahead, trustee.
Attorney
please
Murphy.
sit down?
Go ahead,
I would
trustee.
like to
For the
move to
record,
make, to
Order,
call
please.
for
Order, please,
question.
trustee Stubbs.
For call the
Order.
question.
We heard you. Go ahead, trustee Henry.
Thank
That's
you.
not right.
Thank you.
Call the question.
We heard
The
you.
question.
More discussion.
We
Attorney
heard you.
Murphy.
You know,
Cannot have you like
This is a call to question.
We heard you. All right, we heard you.
Okay.
Go ahead, trustee Henry.
Thank you. This message is to the residents. For the record, Mary Kay, everything I'm going to say tonight, I supported this from jump. I voted for this, invest in Dalton, because I wanted to give houses back to the residents. But as we went forward, there were some things that needed to be tweaked. And y'all know me. I'm going to say exactly how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell you what it is. And I'm going to ask y'all opinion. Y'all told us at my committee meeting that you no longer wanted it, meaning we need to pause and basically fix the tweaks. That's why I voted to take it off the table, fix the tweaks, and then bring it back forward. I'm not saying I'm against it. They'll get my vote if they fix the tweaks. They don't want to. I want the board to fix the tweaks before we move forward so we can have exactly what the residents want. Currently now we don't have that. We have what the board wants but not what the people wants, and I have a problem with that. So that's why I am against voting for this tonight. That's why they're going to get a no from trustee Henry. So going forward, please ask these board members up here, why did they vote for this? Where's the invoices for the 30K? I care about stuff like that. When I vote on anything, I make sure I got documentation on it. Currently I do not. It's hearsay. We're saying we're paying $30,000 for 6 houses at $5,000 a pop. Okay, where the paperwork at? When we vote on any attorney bills or any bills up here, we get an invoice, it's itemized, it tells us exactly what we're purchasing. Currently, we do not have that in front of us, and I wouldn't even spend my own money without having something like that, let alone you guys' money. So, for the record, Mary Kay, I'm totally against paying paying this $30,000 out, I think it should go to my committee, which I said several times, and vet it through. Then bring it back up. Then he can get approval. It's not we're against it because we're saying no. We just need to vet it through. Thank you. End of my statement.
And one of the reasons I also vetoed this was not just for the cost of the.
I'm sorry, pause, but Henyard wants invoices. How the past just rears its ugly head, right? Invoices.
Attorney fees was just the fact that when they had to, you're out of order, Trustee Stubbs.
You are too.
Yeah. Okay. Keep it up. You're gonna be removed. If one of the other reasons that I vetoed this was the fact that when they had the meeting for Invest in Dalton on that Saturday, this was all advertised as you can get a house for $5,000. And then when they came here and they held a meeting, you had to have a net worth of $40,000. So it wasn't even put out there truthfully. You know, so I took that in consideration. I took in consideration what they're charging us to try to get these houses, which our village attorney can do it, and it's just not something that's appropriate for the residents. Okay, take the road. They're gonna do what they're gonna do anyway.
On the motion to override the mayor's veto of Ordinance 17-048, Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
No.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henyard.
No.
Motion carries. They're gonna spend your money like that.
Okay, Big Mike, I'm going to answer that for you right now. Yeah, complete 180, right, with Henyard, Tracy. I'm going to answer that for you right now. Here's your answer.
Be lacking. Thanks, Mr. Dorsey.
Welcome.
Good evening. Come as a resident tonight. I'm gonna talk to a lady I used to call Mama. Trustee Stubbs, look at me when I'm talking to you. Please. Don't act like you don't ignore me. Because I have a lot to tell about you. And you know, we used to sit in your room, in your house, and you know how you came against you because I said, why are you in the bed with Muhammad? Why are you in the bed with Pearson? Mama, what's the outcome? What did you tell me? What did you tell me? I asked you about BP Capital. Why would you take an organization out because you said they were ran by who? Forgive my language. Racist slurs against the...
You notice how Stubbs is just walking right off? Watch her. She walks out of the building.
And you know, we used to sit in your room, in your house, and you know how you came against you because I said, why are you in the bed with Muhammad? Why are you in the bed with Pearson? Mama, what's the outcome? What did you tell me? What did you tell me? I asked you about BP Capital. Why would you take an organization out because you said they were ran by who? Forgive my language. Racist slurs against the ethnical group that they need to get out of here because they're doing nothing? And I told you they do more for me than any of you? But yet, I want to know. BP Capital. Den, trustee, I love you. I came to you from my heart, sweetie, when we got out here for you and pushed my tail off of y'all and prayed that y'all would do the right thing. And you sit up here. You the angel of this book. I didn't hold nothing against you, but you sit up here. And you know that woman dirty. I used to listen to her talk about Joyce Myers, the Bible, all that. Trustee Den, I just want the truth here tonight. I'm coming as a resident and I'm coming as a homeowner. I have nothing else to say but the truth. I always talk help, but I'm sick of it. Because we pouring our souls out here. We giving our all. And y'all sitting up here playing with us like it's nothing. You letting that woman tell you, say it's okay. Don't you do this. Don't you do that. And you sit in the back zone. That woman don't run nobody. She stepped out her body and she's not acting right. I just want to know one thing. If you're giving BP Capital 600 houses and we in $1 million deficit, right? Let's just say we charge what? Let's just say we charge $2,000 per house. Ain't that a good investment for anybody? $2,000 to $4,000. That gives us $1.5 million that we just say we'll give it away, or we'll pay trustees, or we'll pay their lawyers. You know what, y'all? It's a shame, but ain't nothing we can do. That's why you can sit up there, Muhammad, so cool, so relaxed, bro. It ain't nothing we can do. We messed up. We trusted you. I messed up, but I won't do it again. But I can tell you what, y'all all live in Dalton, right? I have 20 people outside of your house every day protesting until you leave this land.
So there's your answer, Big Mike. That's your answer. Okay. I'm telling you, I worked all day on this since this morning. Here we go.
I'd like to suspend the rules to address this issue then.
That's fine too.
Second.
Case been motion to suspend the rules and it's been seconded.
Can I?
We need a vote on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call.
Excuse me, Mayor. Communications. On the motion to suspend the rules by Trustee Muhammad, second by Trustee Stubbs. If any trustees want to.
Now, in this video, there is an echo. There's a double kind of thing going on with this video. It's just the way it was recorded.
Make any announcements, they can do so. The purpose of the suspension, Trustee Muhammad?
Make an announcement concerning the correspondence sent earlier today.
That's fine too.
To all board members, including the mayor and Attorney Murphy.
Okay. There being no further discussion? Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton? Not here. Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henry?
Aye.
The purpose of the suspension, Trustee Muhammad?
Make an announcement. Be recognized, Mayor.
Motion carried. Go ahead, trustee.
Okay, I'd like to bring this to context to the public and the board of an email I sent early this morning concerning tonight's meeting, and I'll read it as follows. Greetings. This email serves as a reminder of the requests made just before our last COW meeting. As we all know, permission has been given by HBO to air the documentary Raised in the System, and hopefully we'll have that video tonight for the public to see.
Motion carried. Go ahead, trustee.
I'm requesting the video clip sent weeks ago to be shown during my committee report tonight. It has been sent and it runs approximately 4 minutes. I'm also following up on materials sent related to our Invest in Dalton program. We are requesting a tab to be created on our Village of Dalton website. This tab would have the application, recommended lenders of the 203K program, and other related information for the program that will have an official launch date very soon. I have yet to receive a turnaround time of when these requests will be completed. I would hope that cooperation in this matter is acknowledged with the response of materials accepted and a completion date. And I would like to state for the record, I did get a response on one of my requests. I believe it was from the village media director. And I'll read that so that we have the context of what my question is. And this question is to be stated to our attorney and the mayor. I got a response to my request from the media director, and it says, I will have the clip tonight for viewing. That's the clip, the 4-minute clip. The second part of my inquiry, it is answered like this. The Invest in Dalton materials is under review by the mayor's office. So I'd like to ask the attorney, who is also CC'd on this request, and the mayor, what is the holdup on us having our Invest in Dalton program that has been passed unanimously by this board, and we're about to have a launch date, why that material is not posted up on our website? And either one of you can take that, since you were both on the thread. Part of my inquiry is answered like this.
I think you got the response that it hasn't been reviewed yet.
So I'd like to. Okay, well, Mayor, that material has been in the hands of the media director for weeks now, and the reason I got a response on this one because I CC'd to the Legislative Council along with Attorney Murphy and yourself, as usual, and I got a response today. We'd like to know what is being reviewed concerning this material that's in the hands of all of these trustees and yourself now, that it is under review, that it's taking weeks to review because the ordinance has been passed. It's law for the Village of Dalton, and we'd like to get a release date on this housing situation in the Village of Dalton. Along with Attorney Murphy
Trustee Muhammad,
and yourself.
you know, when you submit stuff, you seem to think that everything stops and your stuff should be reviewed and passed. You know, we get a lot of stuff in our office that we need to review, and we make contact with other correspondents. So, after it's reviewed, it'll be put up.
Okay, Mayor, I'd like to respond to that. You said my stuff. Of course, I represent the Village of Dalton residents, all 23,000, whether they voted for us or not, and as the finance chairperson. This is a program that's been approved by the board, and we feel there's some resistance from you because it's not my stuff, as you stated. It's an ordinance that was passed by this board. And you're not giving any explanation of why the material, which is no more than about 10 pages, 15 at the most, why that couldn't be reviewed and submitted to go on our website. We're still not getting an answer.
Well, I can't help, Trustee Muhammad, if you're not satisfied with my answer. You always remind me that I'm a part-time mayor. You know? So, there's a lot of things here that needs to be reviewed and correspondence needs to go out. This is really not a part-time job. And I spend more time in this office than any other mayor that's in a part-time position for 24,000 residents. So my answer still stands, and we're not going to go back and forth on this. We're going to play the clip, and once it's reviewed, it'll be considered to be put up on the website.
Mayor, may I say something?
Go ahead, Trustee.
I just want to say this. It's a lot of events that go on in the Village of Dalton. Coffee with the mayor, other things that are put up on the website, a turkey giveaway that have absolutely nothing to do with the village. That was a private thing that was put up. We've asked for several things to be put up, and you would always say that the media director is not holding anything up. Well, we did an MLK breakfast back in January that was never shown. We did a Winter Wonderland that was never shown, and it seems to me and that anytime we ask for anything to be put up on our website, we can never get it done. And you're referred to Edward Steve, the media director, and he'll make his comment, no, you know, it wasn't you. And this is very important that we get this piece put up. So I hope and pray that you find it fit to look over the material in an expeditious way and put it up just like everything that you want to get out to the public. You notify them through website, email blast, and I hope you show us the same courtesy on this piece because that's the truth.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Ed, you want to start the program?
No, we're not there yet, Mayor.
What do you mean we're not there yet? We're not going to go back and forth with this.
Mr. Mayor, we're talking about going back to the agenda, and the next is the engineer's report and committee report.
Well,
Okay.
if I may, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I would just ask, Trustee Muhammad, you referenced a letter that you sent to the mayor and trustees. You did not copy the village clerk on that, so if you would like that part of the record, please
Yes,
do
ma'am.
forward that to me.
You'll get that tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm making popcorn. Okay. Oh, which one was that? Let me see. I apologize. Hold on. Which one was that? There it goes. 6. We've got 17 videos. My goodness. Here we go.
I'm sorry,
Trustee.
I'm sorry, I have one more thing here to add to this, as far as the finance is concerned. And can you bear with me, Mayor, for this, please?
Ask your constituents out there. I can bear with it.
Well, they are. All 23,000 of them are. Myself, our attorney, and Trustee Stubbs attended court last week concerning the invest in Dalton. We were stood up in court and given accolades for this program that we're doing. The judge said himself that this is a wonderful program, and how many people are doing it. we couldn't answer that because we don't have the information to get out to you. So I would like to go into the record on the Invest in Dalton program. Is a program to provide affordable home ownership in the village of Dalton by providing village-owned vacant homes to financially qualified persons by means of a raffle for a cost of acquisition of $5,000 to a village resident or any person who seeks to live and own a home. And
A raffle. You're going to raffle off houses?
Dalton to rehabilitate said home to comply with all village codes. All raffle candidates to qualify must show proof of access to funds in a minimum amount of $35,000. Rehabilitate the property by way of a line of credit or cash or bank approval loan. Once qualified, a list shall be prepared and all will be allowed to participate in the raffle program of any property offered by the village. Raffle winners will receive an as-is conditional purchase offer. Property shall not be conveyed to the raffle winner until the rehabilitation is completed and the work approved by the village. All rehabilitation work shall be performed by a licensed contractor registered with the Village of Dalton. Candidates will be required to execute a one-year rehabilitation agreement, including a deed restriction that the property must remain owner occupied for at least 5 years after completion of the rehabilitation. Failure to comply with the terms of the rehabilitation agreement shall result in the forfeiture of the property. The program requirements are as follows. Within 24 hours of raffle, award, execute condition purchase contract. You must be present at the raffle. Payment of $5,000 acquisition costs and execution of conditional purchase contract must include proof of access to funds in a minimum amount of $35,000 for home rehabilitation costs to qualify for the program. Must start rehab within 90 days of execution of conditional purchasing contract, complete rehabilitation in 1 year. Rehab must be performed by a licensed contractor registered with the Village of Dalton. Must reside in the home at least 5 years, as mentioned before, and the village makes no representations as to the condition of the property. Now, our attorney that represents these properties, again, was at the Markham Courthouse where we were getting clearance on these, and Trustee Stubbs was also there, and she can bear witness how excited the judge was in signing these properties over, and maybe she can go into what she witnessed herself, what the judge, in standing us up, gave accolades to this village and these trustees. Trustee Stubbs?
Wait, hold on.
It's part of my report, Mayor.
Yeah. You had ended your report, and then you asked, can you add something else? And you've added it. Now you want to get a floor to Trustee Stubbs.
Can you be recognized?
Mayor, if I can be recognized.
Go ahead, Trustee.
Real quick.
Thank you.
I just want to say the judge was excited just like we were when we were awarded the properties. Also, I want to state the $5,000 that you put down, the village will receive that monies back. That was the $5,000 that the village put up. So we would definitely receive those monies back. And like I stated before, the judge was very excited. He recognized the Village of Dalton was doing a great thing. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. All right.
What happened to the $30,000? Sorry, I'm eating popcorn. Because these 6 houses, as I showed in the first video, didn't go to residents. So what happened to that $30,000? It's a question.
Well, since we're getting everything on the record, I think it's a terrible program. When we have an attorney that is representing the interests of the village taking these properties, and he's also representing the interests of the company that we're giving these properties to, and we don't get anything for it. We have been receiving complaints from homeowners that have had their property taken or are in the mix right now of getting their property taken. And We have a couple of people here tonight that are going to provide to you some information in regards to what they've been going through with the attorney that some of these board members pick to take these properties and give it to a private corporation, and the village do not get one dime. Not only that, we have a village attorney on record already. They choose to use another attorney to, in fact, charge us to file the demolition or the abandonment petition against these properties. So we're actually paying somebody to take our abandoned properties, to give it to somebody for free, and they're turning around and getting all the money for those properties. Now, in other villages, when they do what's called no cash bids, or they go after the abandoned houses, the village reaps some benefits from that in revenue. That's not the case here. The case when it was made that, oh, they're going to go back on the tax rolls. Yeah, they're going to go back on tax rolls 2 years from now. What about, why should we, and I think they said we had 400 abandoned houses, I'm not sure. Why should we be giving our houses to a separate corporation? They in turn sell the houses and reap all the revenue. Why? We paid $30,000 for the attorney to file liens of abandonment on 6 houses. On 6 houses. And he sat here and he said, well, it cost me $2,500 to file on these houses. Not true. It's approximately $500. Myself and Clerk Dugan went to court on 2 matters. What day was it? A week or so ago? May 25th, in which this attorney that they have that are filing these abandonments petitions wanted to continue. Now, the owners of these properties were there. Wanted to continue to try to take their properties. And they had received phone calls from representative of BP Capital and said, hey, I'm going to get back with you. And in some cases said, hey, you want to buy your house back? Give me $40,000. This is totally wrong. Now, see, if the judge gave him accolades, he don't know the other side of the story. I'm quite sure he wouldn't tell him. It's a terrible program. It's a terrible program. You talk about this financial condition that we're in, and here's a prime opportunity for us to reap some revenue to assist us with our financial issues. But yet and still, we don't give it to somebody else. You talk about political. Yeah, it's political.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
No. No. I'm talking. And you will hear from someone that has been in this situation and they told her they were going to contact her. They never contact her, and they let the time run out so they can take her house. She's sitting right there. And we've gotten the complaints. We've got a complaint. How many complaints have we had? At least 5 to 6 complaints. Now, you're taking houses already, nobody showed up. But the people that show up and say, hey, I want my house, why do you want to continue to try to go and take it? It smells like a rat.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
No.
No. You can't be. Okay. There's much more to come, folks. Oh, my goodness. Which one was that? Okay, number 7. Here we go.
I'm sorry, Trustee. I'm sorry. I have one more thing here to add to this, as far as the finance is concerned. And can you bear with me, Mayor, for this, please?
Ask your constituents out there. I can bear with it.
Well, they are. All 23,000 of them are. Myself, our attorney, and Trustee Stubbs attended court last week concerning the Invest in Dalton. We were stood up in court and given accolades for this program that we're doing. The judge said himself that this is a wonderful program. And how many people are doing it? We couldn't answer that because we don't have the information to get out to you. So I would like to go into the record on the Invest in Dalton program. It is a program to provide affordable home ownership in the village.
Good evening, everybody. I have one question, basically concerning BP Capital. However, what I think Ms. Creighton was trying to say, in reference to the smoke shop, the liquors, and all of that, those values don't exactly resemble sometimes what we're looking for in our neighborhood.
Okay.
And that's a done deal with that, and we're really tired of seeing more liquor stores and things of that nature that are enticing young children to come in at a young time. It is what it is. Okay, but my question in reference to BP Capital is, what is the process that's in place to ensure that no interest, like an interest party, no interest party is involved in the property, like other investors or things of that nature? How do you cipher other investors out? People who come and say, well, you know what, I want to be a resident in Dalton, but you don't know that they're actually an investor. How do you find that out? I mean, what is the process?
Who are you directing that to?
I'm saying, what process is in place to ensure no interest party or no, excuse me, I done got lost. Thank you. Third party interest is involved.
I'll be quite honest with you. The agreement was passed. I didn't even read it because just hearing it when it was introduced, I knew it wasn't right. So I can't tell you that. I'm not sure who you want to direct that question to. Maybe the members.
Well, basically those who are actually interested or who are actually doing this particular Invest Dalton program. So that's who I'm addressing it to.
Excuse me, real soon, I don't have the.
You see how this investment Dalton and BP Capital gets all mixed up? It's just incredible. Two programs running at the same time, the same lawyers. You got to pay the attorney $30,000. It does smell like a rat.
Date with me. We're going to have another housing fair. We're not able to put anything on the SS channel. We can't use the media center. I do have newspapers in my car. I can give you one. It'll give you a lot of information because the trustees are not allowed to use the media center to put this particular information for the residents. Excuse me, the trustees are not allowed to put this information on the media center, send emails out, or anything of that nature. But I did have it placed in the newspaper, and I have some out in my car that I can give you that information after the meeting. Even after we dismiss from here, I can run out and get you
I would definitely like to see that.
Okay.
But the other thing is...
Okay.
Go ahead.
And I was going to say, in the paper, it also states home ownership. You have to live in the house for 5 years before you could sell it or do anything to it. And all that will be checked out. And we will have the housing fair. And I know Ed sent Trustee Muhammad an email and stated that he sent all that information to the mayor, and we're still waiting on the mayor, and that don't look like it's going to happen. So therefore, we put the information in newspapers, and anybody that care for a newspaper, I have some in my car.
Okay. The other thing actually is, again, Village of Dalton, everybody can see how decisive our board is. And some sort of way, I don't care what hate you have for him or her or she has for you, excuse me, but what I'm saying is y'all gonna have to come together some sort of way. We cannot keep coming here every week to go through this hassle, this headache. It's drenching to come here once a month, every month, or twice a month to this meeting to have to witness this. So I'm asking if you guys can get together some sort of way, and you really have to start talking this out, because, see, you're confusing all of us right about now.
Can I say something to you before you leave? Actually, I can't think of the lady's name. Perhaps trustee.
Jalal.
Pardon me?
Jalal Munir.
Yeah, Jalal Munir.
Manure.
She actually.
Jalal Munir.
She actually set up a meeting with 5 of the trustees to meet with the mayor. I believe Trustee House was the only one that met with him. He had agreed first to meet with us. And don't know what happened after Trustee House met with her and the mayor. Then, to my understanding, she text some of the trustees, and I spoke with her, and she said, because she wanted to do a mediator thing, so we can all get together and squash whatever is our problem with each other and move forward for the people of this village. And I don't know what happened at that particular meeting, but to my understanding, she stated to me that the mayor didn't want to meet with anybody else. Now, this is what she told me. That's, I don't know.
And is there something in place whereas you guys are, at least whatever committee that you're trying to create, are going to now include at least some of us here in this village to sit on your committee to help make some of these decisions as well?
Yes, we talked about that, and we definitely want some residents. We are going to have a meeting in July, and we hope we get the support of the board. And we would like to include you because you should have a voice in our village.
Okay, before you go, I just got 2 comments for you. One, someone did reach out to me with everybody, but at the end of the day, we all grown up here. If people want to talk to people, pick up the phone and call them, set a meeting. We don't need a resident per se to do it if we really wanted to talk to one another. I call everybody on the board. So if it's something I want to talk about, I reach out to everybody. So everybody up here could do the same exact thing. That's 1. 2, she didn't answer your question as far as the investment. Was it a third-party investment interest? No. No one knows. There's no checks and
that's what the mayor was just saying. He said he hadn't.
Okay, and 3,
no information.
Committee, if they wanted a resident to sit on their committee, the law that they made up now, they would have added a resident onto that law, onto that ordinance.
Wow.
Yeah, see,
Thank you.
Normally, the mayor would set up the committees, but they put an ordinance in place where I couldn't do that either. So when you talked about all these ordinances, this, if you compare our ordinances with some of the other villages, what we got, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All the money and time that's spent in all those late night meetings to 1 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock at night, over nothing. Crazy stuff. Okay, that concludes our citizens' address.
Okay, I'll make sure I hit number 9. Hoodwinking. She never answered the phone. I know, call my phone. Yeah, it's the complete opposite, isn't it? I guess I could see why they wanted her for mayor. But she, and this is for the record, Mary Kay, she was always saying that. And okay, whoop, I get the right setting. Number 9, right? Okay, here we go.
Announcement. Saturday, July 14th, 2018. Time 12 to 2 p.m. Invest in Dalton. The trustees of the village of Dalton presents village employees and you who are looking to live in our community of Dalton to come out to the housing fair where you can walk away with a home of your own for less than $50,000. Not on that day. We will give you information. And
Wait a minute. First it was 30,000, then it was 40,000, now it's 50,000. It's very confusing. This invest in Dalton and BP Capital. It's confusing. And then now it's a raffle. I'm sorry for interrupting.
applications on how to do so. And you can ask all the questions that you would like at that particular time for Invest in Dalton. Also, I would like to announce ProChamp. We received a check in the amount that was the company that we hired for housing to collect monies on abandoned property through the registrar. We have a check, $9,720 that we have collected. Thank you. That's the end of my announcements.
Yeah, we still have to get into pro champs. This is a whole mess.
Number, the location.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me give you a phone number that you can call for Invest in Dalton. You
Call
can
that number.
RSVP at 708-888-0341, and that's 44, and that's Saturday, July 14th, 2018, from 12 to 2 p.m. We have flyers if anybody need a flyer, and the location of that event is New Zion Covenant Church, 14200 Chicago Road. Thank you.
Look at that poor employee. Look, she's tired. She just wants to go home. Okay, what are we on, 9? Okay, let's go to 10. We're getting there. I'm telling, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. This took a lot of work. Here we go.
Notice of intent for the suit against Mayor Rogers.
Can I be recognized, please?
No, I'm not done reading this. Notice of intent for suit against Mayor Rogers, Invest in Dalton resolution authorizing legislative counsel, that's another bill we have to pay another attorney, to file suit against the mayor to require issuance of the real estate transfer tax declaration stamps. And that's by Trustee Muhammad.
I make a motion to pass the following resolution, and I'll read it into record. Whereas the village board has duly approved the Invest in Dalton program, which includes the village acquiring tax delinquent properties by legal action to then make these properties available by lottery to persons wishing to be residential occupants for the purpose of providing affordable home ownership, increasing owner-occupied residential homes in the village, and placing these properties back on the real estate tax rolls of the village. And whereas the mayor has directed staff not to sign and has refused to sign the required documents, including but not limited to real estate transfer tax declarations, to complete the property acquisitions authorized by the village board in dereliction of his required duties under the law. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the mayor and board of trustees of the village of Dalton, Cook County, Illinois, in the exercise of its home rule authority as follows. Section 1. Robbins Schwartz, Legislative Counsel for the Village of Dalton, is hereby authorized and directed to file suit on behalf of the trustees of the Village of Dalton against Mayor Riley H. Rogers to obtain a court order directing him to execute and/or issue all documents required to be executed to implement the Invest in Dalton program, including but not limited to real estate transfer tax declarations. Section 2. Any policy or resolution of the Village of Dalton which conflicts with the provisions of this resolution shall be and is hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 3. This resolution shall take effect upon its passage and approval in the manner provided by law. I make a motion that that is passed.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and been seconded to Subi.
Okay, let me get him on discussion.
For not the issuance of real estate transfer tax declaration stamps. Any discussion?
Yes. Mayor, again, if you look at the wording that you wanted to read, it says the intent. We can forego any litigation whatsoever if you would do what's required by the ordinance, and that is sign the documentation. This is an intent to sue. And this is the only way that we can get you to come to the table to sign the needed documentation to put these residents in homes, owner-occupied homes, not investor homes. So to avoid the suit, Mayor, this is an intent to sue. All you have to do is sign the documentation, and then there will be no suit.
Well, in your narrative, you said directed. I refuse. I directed my employees, I think it was, not to sign those documents. Now, first of all, I've never directed anybody to not sign them. And secondly, if they had the authority to sign them, I wouldn't need to sign them. So, what I'm saying right now is that everything takes time, Trustee Mohammed. I've had some issues that I felt had taken some precedence in regards to with my recent death of my mother, and it's a lot of other pressing matters here that happened in the village. I never said that I wouldn't refuse, that I refused to sign it.
Can I motion that we table the notice of intent to sue?
Second.
Okay. All right, no discussion on the table.
It's got to be voted in, man.
It's got to be voted.
Okay, go ahead.
1 second. On the motion to table item D, and this is not for purposes of discussion, but just to note, Trustee Mohammed, you indicated this was a resolution. I do not have a copy of the resolution that you read, and if anybody else does, please let me know. Okay, on the motion to table. Motion by Trustee House, second by Trustee Henyard. Trustee Mohammed.
No.
Trustee Stubbs.
No.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Thank you. Trustee Denton.
I done lost track. You threw me off track. What am I
Ain't trying to.
Motion to table.
Okay, no.
Okay.
Say aye.
Say aye. You're making it work.
No.
It's an aye.
Intent to sue.
Yeah.
And we want to table this to another time.
Yes.
No.
That's the motion.
No, we got to get this done. It's got to be done. So my vote is
Still gonna be mad.
Not to table.
Turn on your mic, trustee, with
Thank
hear you, please.
we have to get this taken care of, Mayor. We don't want to sue, but we got to get these signed. So my vote is no. Don't table it. Let's do this.
Trustee Pearson.
No.
Trustee Henyard.
Aye.
4-2. Motion fails.
It's a vote on the main motion.
I broke my.
The motion stands on the main motion for the.
No, I just thank you very much, Carefree. Hey, Dwayne. Hey, lady. Yeah, this is Riley Rogers, the one before Tiffany Henyard. And if you think he's a clown, he's backing Clean House 2025. So maybe you want to keep that in mind. But thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Intent of suit.
Thank you, Tracy.
And may I ask again, Trustee Mohammed, do all the members of this board have copies of the resolution you're asking them to vote
No,
on?
I've given them to the clerk. If you could make copies, please.
There they go.
Wow.
Big deal.
You see, the disrespect continues. The disrespect continues. Trust.
It's intent.
Oh boy.
What's that?
All I'm gonna say is that we got enough signatures on them petitions.
Tracy Noonan, if you're here, I'm having my mocha. And thank you for hitting the like button. I appreciate
Yeah.
You know, Dwayne and Stubbs, you have open mics. We can hear everything you're saying. Ah, really? Thanks, Donna. Oh, Hunting's in the audience too. My. What a big happy family we are.
I haven't been eating it, so I should have some. A couple of them.
I asked a question of the parliamentarian. Wait till the group gets back there and we're in recess.
Riley's whispering in Denton's ear.
Trying to get through it fast, so. You got to make copies of that. You made copies of everything like that. She had sent that to the clerk. She did. No, she sent that to the clerk.
Such time as we fix it, we can demonstrate what it's needed.
I thought Kathleen sent that to you already. That's why I didn't have copies.
Back the water smell. So that's where we're at.
Some briefing back.
Think we're in the wrong. Oh, look, I just sat in the mayor's chair. How Freudian of me.
Next, though, is the city of Chicago.
Did you hear what he said on that hot mic? Next is the city of Chicago, because they owe the city of Chicago for back pay.
Business deal. City of Chicago. City of Chicago. That's what we are. This is how I keep up to deals.
The title of it. It'll be in April, the one that passes. The one.
Thank you, Dave.
Pardon me, Chair. We do have a full agenda. Can we please proceed with the meeting? Because this is a pretty full agenda, and this budget is going to take quite a while to do. Can we please come out of recess and continue?
In other words, he doesn't want Riley talking to Denton.
Continue the agenda, Chair.
Chair. Okay. Now, does everybody have a copy of these? What they voted on that they didn't have?
We have to vote on it.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Okay, we had a motion to table which failed, so on the motion to pass resolution under item D, old business, Was there a motion? It was by Mohammed
It's already
initially. Yes, and was there a second? Second by trustee Pearson.
I try. I try real hard. Okay, that was number 10. Okay. Hey, Dedra, how are you? Good to see you. Oh, yeah, they broke. Absolute broke. Board could not get along with the mayor. Mayor couldn't get along with the board. Okay. Number 11. Oh, I think this is this might be the last one before the breakdown of what a disaster it became.
Thank you, sir. I have a congratulations of a victory for the residents of the village of Dalton. The Invest in Dalton has been tied up in court since last year by our Honorable Mayor Rogers, but the judge ruled in favor of the residents that we can now release these homes. But before I do that, I want to dispel some misinformation.
I'm sorry, Mr. Muhammad. Well, it doesn't matter whether they take them down or not. I have them all of them.
That has been out there. Last year, we had installed a program called Pro Champs. Pro Champs allowed us to collect monies and to register many of the properties that have never been registered in the village of Dalton. I'll give you an update on Pro Champs. Since May 1st of 2018 of last year, we have accumulated $129,800 from registration of over 600 properties that we either abandoned in foreclosure. We know who the banks are, the lawyers that deal with those properties. That's over 600 properties that cost the village absolutely nothing. That's the money that we make free and clear from Pro Champs. I preface that with the Village of Dalton's Invest in Dalton program, where the judge ruled in our favor. Now we have about, and then Trustee Stubbs can correct me, we have right now about 14 homes that have now been released. We took the political arm away from this. It will no longer be the mayor that can sign off on these deeds. According to the judge, it can be the clerk or the director of housing can sign the exemption applications. Also, the judge stated, village officials also shall not hinder nor delay the issuance of otherwise valid requests for occupancy permits for any of the properties, nor shall the village officials refuse or fail to turn on or allow water to be turned on for any of the properties acquired under this village agreement. Now, the order is pretty long, but I'll just give certain highlights because many people are confused of the BP Capital and the Invest in Dalton program, but we will have the housing fair and we'll...
Yes, everybody is confused about BP Capital Invest in Dalton. And I have recorded every single video for the past 4 years. So I have them all. So it doesn't matter if they take them down or not. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Muhammad. So you took away the power of the mayor to sign off on the deeds. Another thing they took away from the mayor.
Announced that at our next board meeting on, I think it's March 4th.
That's a separate.
It's not investing. And what I'm reading into record, excuse me, I believe the clerk has it, the mayor has it, and our attorney Murphy has this also, according to this report. I'm sorry, this order that came down from the judge. Actually, it was Judge Thomas Condon, and I was there at that particular hearing, and the judge was quoted as saying, these are his exact words, "This program is a great way to provide housing, stabilize, and grow communities." And just to give you some redevelopment portions of this agreement between us and our developer. The village has undertaken efforts to promote economic development, home ownership with its borders, and address the issues of distressed, unsafe, dangerous, and hazardous properties which are vacant and abandoned pursuant to Village of Dolton Ordinances number 9-485, 10-499, 17-008, and 17-013 that are subjects of foreclosure proceedings, tax delinquencies, water or municipal liens, liability within its corporate limits. The village, in its efforts to address the aforementioned, has determined it's in the best interest of its residents to obtain a developer who is experienced, competent, and financially able to renovate and restore the unsafe, dangerous, and hazardous properties in their as-is condition under the terms and conditions set forth in this agreement. The developer is seeking to assist the village in its efforts to eradicate unsafe, dangerous, hazardous, vacant, and abandoned property pursuant to certain Illinois statutes. I won't read all of those. Then renovating and restoring properties, thereby stabilizing the community, and return properties to the tax rolls for the benefit of the village and its residents. It is the intent and goal of the village and developer to jointly cooperate in executing this redevelopment agreement to eradicate the hazardous, unsafe, dangerous, vacant, and abandoned properties within the village's corporate boundaries. Now, this has been in court for the last 19 months. 19 months that this was introduced. There's been a denial of water service and willful failure to record the court-issued judicial deeds, which, as I told you, the judge gave a victory to the residents that they now have to do it. We can finally begin putting people into these once vacant and abandoned homes. Over 30 properties in the pipeline returned to the tax rolls. We're now going to be increasing the tax revenues for the village and schools by $200,000 annually. And 6 properties have been set aside as for the raffle for village residents. And again, Judge Thomas was in agreement with this. It was in our favor. When I say our favor, I'm not talking about just the trustees that had to take our honorable mayor to court. And by the way, that case did not cost the village from these trustees 1 single cent. But if the mayor would have just followed the ordinance, we could have had these people in these homes last year. So again, this is in the record, and hopefully the clerk, if you do not have a copy, I can give you a copy, and hopefully it'll be published.
Now, I'm sorry, Mr. Muhammad. Ooh, that was a bad place to stop. Chinese walnut cookies. Where is ours, Tracy? I could use one with my mocha coffee. Now, remember what he just said, okay? Keep that in memory. Let me play it back. Just a tinge. There you go. Go ahead.
The residents that they now have to do it. We can finally begin putting people into these once vacant and abandoned homes. Over 30 properties in the pipeline returned to the tax rolls. We're now going to be increasing the tax revenues for the village and schools by $200,000 annually. And 6 properties have been set aside as for the raffle for village residents. And again, Judge Thomas was in agreement with this. It was in our favor. When I say our favor, I'm not talking about just the trustees that had to take our honorable mayor to court. And by the way, that case did not cost the village from these trustees 1 single cent. But if the mayor would have just followed the ordinance.
I'm sorry, but did you catch that? It didn't cost the village 1 dime from the trustees, but it did cost the village. See how that little, wordplay got played into there? Sorry.
We could have had these people in these homes last year. So again, this is in the record, and hopefully the clerk, if you do not have a copy, I can give you a copy, and hopefully it'll be published through our transparency ordinance so that everyone can know what went down on February 5th, 2019 at Circuit Court 2084 under Judge Michael T. Mullen. And that's my update on the Invest in Dalton program, Mayor. Thank you.
If I may.
First, go ahead.
For point of clarification, trustee, no, I do not have a copy of any order signed by Judge Condon at the 6th Municipal District Courthouse. The copy of the order I have is from Judge Tilley, I believe you said, that was entered in February. That was agreed order between the Village of Dalton and the plaintiffs, meaning the trustees. So if you have a copy of anything signed by Judge Condon, I would like it for the record, but the order I received was not entered by Judge Condon. It was entered by Judge Tully, I think you said, and I think that is correct, at the first municipal district when the Village of Dalton settled this lawsuit with the trustees of the Village of Dalton. So yes, please send me anything
Yes,
you have
ma'am.
from Judge Condon.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. As some of you know, and some of you may not know, first of all, this order was not about Invest in Dalton. The order was an agreed order. It wasn't a win. The trustees, 40 trustees here, sued me to sign off on those properties that were given to BP Capital. My issue about signing off on those deeds was the fact we were not receiving any money from any of these properties that BP Capital was given. And I wanted to know who they were selling them to, how much profit they made, who did the work, and they didn't want to give me that. So what I did was I did a little research. When Trustee Mohammed talked about the Invest in Dalton program, those were the six houses. But this order that was agreed upon, because it would have cost the village more if I kept fighting it, but I still refused to sign those deeds because I think we should know who those houses are going to, how much money that they sold those houses for, and because we didn't get one dime for those houses. So here's what happened. I get sued by Gary Grasso. And if some of you know the chain of events here, Anthony Bass, who is a member of Grasso and Bass law firm, charged the village $5,000 per house to do the demolition or abandonment lien to get these 6 properties. Of course, I made a stink about that because it's only about $300 some odd fees, and then it's only like a $75 publication. Why are you charging us $5,000 to file liens against this house when in fact our village attorney could have did it, and he does it in other cases in other villages? So in doing my research, I get sued by, I'm not sure if it's Gary Grasso or Michael Grasso. Gary Grasso is the partner of Anthony Bass, and Michael Grasso is his son. So I get sued for not signing a deed that their law partner filed demolition and abandonment on the property, and guess who the property was given to or sold to? It was given to or sold to a company by the name of Reliant Homes LLC. So in further research, I find out that the managers of that LLC is Michael Grasso and Gary Grasso, and this has been verified through the Secretary of State. So now you come in and you file these liens against the village, and mind you, these liens vacates everything. Water bills on these properties, liens on the properties, whether it's for cutting grass or maintenance, and you actually get this house free, but it costs us money to get it to you. So I just think there's an ethical problem here, and there's something funny going on when you sue me because I didn't sign your deed off on your deed, and you go to court and you do it as almost as an emergency order, okay? And it goes to your law partners and to his son. Then I find out later that that house was sold for $145,000. The village didn't get one dime. So that's another reason I didn't want to sign off on these deeds. And I want to find out how much actually that the village is not receiving on these houses that was given away for nothing. Now, you're okay, fine. We're going to be back on the tax rolls. When do we really realize anything on the tax roll? In 2 years or longer? And what do we realize? Maybe 5,000 in this house or 6,000 in this house? It's a hell of a lot less than 145,000, I can tell you that much. So, I want to know those questions. And the building permits. You know, I want to pull the building permits. See who actually worked on the house, the extent of the work. How much they actually put in that house before they flipped it for 145,000. You know, the water liens, all wiped out. Grass cutting liens, all wiped out. I mean, this is ludicrous for us to give control to one company over 400 houses and we don't get a dime. You know, this needs to be investigated. Y'all want to investigate me? This needs to be investigated. And so now, John Murphy agreed. I told him I wasn't signing off on it. You know, if they want to put somebody else to sign off on it, that's fine. But they're not going to throw this up in my face and say, yeah, the mayor signed off on them. So he entered into agreed order to stop the attorney fees for them suing me for not signing off on those properties. But that's what we're dealing with here. And it's a shame that we have things of value that we can bring in revenue, especially when we owe people our garbage, owe the city of Chicago money. We have things that we can bring in revenue, but it's given away. Now, would you give away your house free? And I don't think any reasonable person would if it had some value. But that's exactly what's been done here. So, I'm going to move on to the next thing.
No, Mayor. Let me remind you of what Attorney Murphy told us at our last meeting when you cut off the dialogue, that every elected official has the First Amendment right to speak. When you were shutting down the dialogue last time, and he spoke. Well, I'm not through speaking, sir.
You spoke of this as being invested in Dalton, and it's not invested in Dalton.
Again,
it's
Mayor,
not. Those deeds were not invested in Dalton.
You know, one of the biggest complaints that residents have is the fighting that goes on in this board. I try to be as respectful to you as possible, sir.
I agree with you.
If you would please let me speak, Mayor, without interrupting you. I don't interrupt you. Can I speak? Can I speak and respond to the misinformation that you just stated concerning this program?
Misinformation. Go ahead, trustee.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Please, let's get out here at a reasonable hour.
And then, Mayor, I have some.
Okay,
input.
Mayor, there's a thing called judicial sale. Anyone here knows, and I think Ms. Henyard can attest to this, when there's a judicial sale, the water bill is waived. There are quite a few things that are waived in a judicial sale, which is some of these properties. It is not 400 houses. We're talking approximately 14 homes. Not one home has been sold yet because it's been in court since last May or June. You're selling, who's selling the houses to? They have not been sold. And we're talking about 14 properties. The $5,000 that was paid to Attorney Bass will be returned to the village upon the raffle of the 6 homes that we have, because the persons have to have $5,000 in order to secure the home, and that goes back to the village of Dalton. So, Mayor, you talked about a home that was sold. I have no information on that. I cannot respond to that.
You didn't do the research.
Mayor, I have not interrupted you. I'm trying to be respectful. Mayor, you keep talking about the disagreement on this board. We have to be respectful if we can have a disagreement. I love to have a disagreement, but I will not be disagreeable with you. I would like to finish my point, and I hope that you recognize other trustees that want to speak, because we have a First Amendment to speak at this Board of Trustees meeting. So the misinformation that you said, no files against the property and no money back on the tax rolls, I would prefer to have a home that's been rehabbed. And these homes have been rehabbed by persons registered with the Village of Dalton who are certified, bonded, and insured by the Village of Dalton. And we got that list from our licensing department. So all of those persons are registered with the Village of Dalton. So that's all I have to say, and I thank you so much, Mayor.
Madam Clerk, Madam Clerk, why don't you tell the residents here how many deeds you've signed off on, and kind of confer the first sale, how much it was?
Pursuant to the agreed order that was entered and not issued by Judge Condon. Judge Condon was the judge who granted the petitions by BP Capital on behalf of the Village of Dalton to transfer the properties to the village. The lawsuit filed by the trustees against the mayor for failure to respond was filed at the Daily Center, and a different judge entered the order by agreement, hopefully resolving the matter. But pursuant to that order, I have the dubious pleasure of signing off on the deeds, and as of this week, I have signed off on 3 conveyances to buyers because we are conveying them for $0. I do not yet know how much those properties will be resold for. But for the one that the mayor referenced to Reliant Homes, Michael Grasso as contractor and principal of Reliant Homes, and I think actually, Mayor, that was $147,000 from what I saw.
Okay.
The other 2, I don't know what they're going to be resold to private parties for until they come back and process that paperwork.
3 properties. 3, not 400.
The order.
So far.
The order.
It's not 400.
The order that was entered in by Judge Michael Mullen, October 18, 2000.
Not Tully.
Pardon me?
Not Tully, one of my people. Mullen is also one of my people. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Yes. This cause comes before the court on an emergency basis. What I'm thinking is that he had the house sold. The deed wasn't signed off on. He wanted that deed right away so he can get the money. Emergency petition. I can hardly read this, for Reliant Homes LLC. Now, this order was drawn up, from what I understand, by Attorney Grasso. He drew this order up and had the judge sign it on an emergency basis. Hereby ordered the petition to, it's hard to read. This is the petition, what is that?
Petition of intervener.
Right. The petition of intervener, Reliant Homes LLC, is granted. The emergency petition for writ of mandamus is granted, and the writ is...
Hey, Stephen.
It's basically saying it's hereby the mayor of Dalton or the housing director is basically telling me to sign off on this thing. 15516 Ellis is the property in question. And that's the property that was sold for $147,000, where the village didn't get one dime for that. Now, some of these other villages that have abandoned properties, they sell them and they get money for them. Why shouldn't we be doing anything different? I had one investor told me, said, Mayor, if I was doing what they're doing, getting the cream of the crop, I'll give you $20,000 a house. So 100 homes, that's $2 million. It's $2 million. These properties, especially the recently foreclosed ones, don't need a lot of money to rehab them. And that's money that we could use in our coffers to pay our bills and our debtors. So anyway.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
Go ahead, trustee.
Mayor, I've been waiting.
Yes, that's right. Go ahead, trustee Henner.
All right, thank you. I just want to bring some clarity because it seems like everything is everywhere up here. BP Capital. I just want you, Trustee Muhammad, to explain BP Capital and Invest in Dalton, because that's 2 separate programs. That's not the same program. So everybody understand or are aware of that. You guys were in court for, I thought, BP Capital, but you're saying you was in court for Invest in Dalton. Is that correct, Trustee Muhammad?
Yeah, the homes were combined, but I think it would be more favorable as part of the housing committee that we discussed that in the housing committee. And
Wait a minute. The homes were combined. He just said that. The homes were combined. And I'm sorry. I have been listening to these people all day. So I think I deserve this, and probably everybody else will appreciate this as well. and then we'll get back to this shit show. Thank you. Okay, back to the shit show.
But if you read the order, and the mayor did not read the latest order, which he should have, because according to this order that I received that's dated February 5th, Attorney Murphy is his name is one of them, along with two other law firms. So, Mayor, by you not having and the clerk not having the updated agreed judgment order, and Trustee Henyard, to answer your question,
Yeah.
to answer your question, as I stated.
Allow me to correct that. No, Trustee, I do have the updated order of February.
February 5th?
Yes, the final order. Pursuant to that order, I have, since that date, signed off on 3 properties as submitted by BP Capital, and pursuant to that order, as BP Capital submits the deeds, I am to sign off on those as well as they submit them.
Yeah, I have no debate with that. I'm trying to answer Trustee Henyard's question, and we would have to go through the order, and like I said, so that we don't take too much more
Trustee,
time.
I just want to be simple.
Let me finish, Trustee, please. As I was stating, Trustee Henyard.
Order, please.
As I was stating, Trustee Henyard, we have the order, and I don't know if this has been handed out to everybody, but what I'll do is I'll make copies, and we can discuss that in the Housing Committee.
Okay, you didn't answer the question. So here it is, guys. BP Capital. They got a contract exclusive. We was arguing over the word exclusive. Everybody know what that word means. So I'm not going to give a definition like Trustee Muhammad does. That means that they strictly have the contract for the Village of Dalton to receive all our inventory, which was 428 properties to be exact. We gave that to them. Okay. After that, this board created another program called Invest in Dalton. That attorney that represented BP Capital, which was Attorney Bass, went after 6 of our vacant property, which he got off of that list, if y'all all following me. So after that, we paid him, meaning the Village of Dalton, we paid Attorney Bass $5,000 per house. So now we are in debt of $30,000. Everybody follow me with the math? Okay. So now they're stating they're going to do a raffle. That's what I heard. So correct me if I'm wrong. They said they're going to do a raffle for you residents to get these houses that we already paid for, and it's sat there, let Trustee Muhammad say it, for 19 months. So that means we spent $30,000 over 2 years, almost 2 years. And you guys haven't benefited from the property. First of all, why would they pay for something that we could have just gave strictly to the resident? We could have cut the middleman out. We didn't have to pay an attorney $5,000. We could have gave it to you, resident, let you pay $5,000 and moved on with our life, right? But they didn't do that. So my questions to Trustee Muhammad is, and I can recite them all, how many houses did they get? What 6 properties are in this raffle? Did we pay for the 6 properties, which I just answered? And how do a resident get a property that you said was going to be in this raffle?
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that
Before you
question.
answer that, Trustee Muhammad,
yes,
I just want to interject something. It would have been more than 6 houses, but because I said something about it and the cost and everything, they shied away from doing any more. But there was I think it was 22.
No, it was 30 they were trying to get.
I think it was 22.
I can answer her question, Mayor. I have the information in front of me.
When I get done.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, what was the initial list that they gave you? Was it 22 or 30 houses that was on it?
The very first list was, there are actually 2 lists. One were 6 houses for Invest in Dalton, which is a separate program, as
Correct.
Trustee Henyard said, for which the village paid $5,000 each to Attorney Bass in attorney's fees to acquire.
Right.
BP Capital was a separate agreement approved by the majority of this board.
That's correct.
With BP Capital, the attorney for BP Capital is the same Attorney Bass.
For both programs, yes, that's correct.
Now,
And initially,
and the plot thickens.
Initially, there were 19 actions filed with Judge Condon and other judges at the Markham Courthouse.
Thank you.
Others have followed.
Yes, and there was liens filed on houses where those owners were still in control of the property, and myself and Madam Clerk appeared in Markham Court and told Attorney Bass, you better take another look at this. And originally he refused to drop the lien on those houses, and we were staying for the hearing because we wanted to go in front of the judge. And then he came out, and those homeowners were at court that day. He came out and said, okay, Mayor, we'll take these two off, because we was definitely ready to confront the judge and say, hey, these are legitimate owners here. Sure, they're a little bit delinquent, but these houses aren't vacant, you know. But in going back, you know, Trustee Kenya was part of the board members that voted for BP Capital, but since then she's seen the light on what is really going on here, and how we just giving away our inventory. And I think at that board meeting, they said we were giving them control of over 400 houses.
428.
What was it? 428 houses. So they had the luxury of picking and choosing the cream of the crop, which ones they wanted to rehab, which would cost less, where we can flip them quicker. And, you know, Trustee Muhammad mentioned earlier, none of those houses have been sold. Well, I talked to one of the investors. He said, hey, I paid X amount of dollars for this house already. I just don't have the deed. So these were, I think, these houses were selected to have little rehab, and they marketed to those investors and said, we're going to get this done. We're going to get this done. And I just don't think it's right to give away inventory. I just don't think it's right for us to know how much profit that we have thrown out the door. Originally, I can say this. I think at 155, whatever it was, Ellis, you know, it was a house in reasonable condition. I don't think they spent a lot of money on it, and I think they probably profited over $100,000 on that house. And part of the other issue was they bought in and said, hey, we got these people that's going to do the mortgages and everything and get these people in the house. So it's supposed to be a smooth transition of us giving the houses, they hooking up with the mortgage companies, a few selected people will get some inventory and make a lot of money, and we sit back here like a fool trying to pay our bills, where we had opportunity to bring in some revenue to help pay our bills. So I think it's just part of a big scheme, and we the fools.
Mayor might be recognized if
Trustee
you're finished.
Muhammad wanted to talk.
I'll yield my time to Trustee Stubbs.
Where's Trustee Stubbs?
I just want to say you've heard a whole lot of stuff. This is like a commercial. You don't know what to believe
We got
and
the
who to
facts.
believe. And I have the facts too. I believe in black and white. Presently, there are a total.
I'm sorry, Miss Stubbs. BP Stubbs. I believe in black and white too.
Of 17 houses that they are working on. We have the Invest in Dalton program where we could have been sold the houses. I have the applications, but the guys have to redo the applications. I've been calling people that have filled out the applications for the 6 houses because we thought it would be a good thing to raffle off houses to the residents, and they only pay $40,000 up to $40,000 for a total rehab gut. Now, since then, these people have actually qualified, and they are residents of the village of Dalton. One young man lived with his mother and father, and he qualified. That application was taken to him yesterday so he can redo an application. And they talk about they picked the cream of the crop. Bull crap. On 149th in Michigan, want everybody to ride down there, is this house right here. And you can't see it, but you're more than welcome when the board meeting is over to come up and see this house. It's deplorable. This is the house that lived between the 2 senior citizens that's rodent infested, that's deplorable, that's on the list to be rehabbed.
And I'm going to make you eat those words as soon as you're done here.
So they don't have to live like that. Okay? And anytime somebody had a question about BP Capital, and invest in Dalton, because the attorney Bass can charge whatever he wanted to charge, just like this attorney up here. She charged whatever she wanted to charge for her services, and that's her fee. So.
But our job as trustees is to protect y'all.
Excuse me, I'm speaking because yesterday a young lady came to see me about one of the $5,000 houses that she wanted from your program, and her credit wasn't up to par, and so therefore, you know, I got a problem with that too, about giving out false hope.
We know you want
okay?
to cook your
but
friend.
we
Don't
can
worry
all,
about it. We get into that.
You don't. I'm not going to argue with you, trustee.
You just did.
You're not going to get that out of me. But anyway, we can all sit down together because it's enough houses to go around. Okay, I don't have a problem with doing. Excuse me. I don't have a problem with somebody else doing the program, as long as it's done properly. You know, you don't know how much it's going to cost to rehab a house until you go up into the house and to see what it needs.
Trustee Stubbs.
Yes.
How do you pre-qualify people and the lottery hasn't happened yet?
You pre-qualify them the same way you do it when you can pick up the phone. If you get ready to purchase a house and you want to pre-qualify with a bank or any type of financial lender, and they will pre-qualify you over the phone. If you have ever purchased a house that way, Mayor, then that's the way that you do it, and they will give you a pre-qualifying letter to show that you are pre-qualified once they run your credit, if you have good, decent credit, Mayor.
So you're going to only...
Excuse me, you want me to answer the question?
I thought you answered already.
So that's how you pre-qualify.
Okay.
A financial institution will pre-qualify you if your credit is up to par.
So what you're saying is that only these pre-qualified applicants are the ones that's going to be in the lottery?
Anybody can fill out an application. You have to pre-qualify for a certain amount so you can get the house rehabbed. So we don't want to give you a house that's uninhabitable. You have to have it, I believe it's like $35,000, $40,000. It depends on what you want in the house that you qualify for.
So I'm saying, this is what I'm saying, you have to pre-qualify first before you can get into the lottery?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Why would you not? Like the young lady yesterday, you know, or like other people that say, well, I have the $5,000 for the $5,000 program, but they don't have any rehab money.
Okay.
So that's therefore, with this program, with only the 6 houses, you have to pre-qualify.
Mayor, can I be recognized?
Come on, we beat this enough. Let's go on. Let's move on. The next thing on the agenda is new business, hiring of 3 crossing guards. Go ahead, Trustee Pearson.
You miss H, Mayor.
H. I thought you said that...
Okay, I want to go on record, Mayor, that you're not recognizing a duly elected official, that you're shutting down our First Amendment right to speak on an item that a trustee has put on the agenda.
Fine, you're on record. Okay, Trustee Henry, next thing on the agenda is approval of block-by-block program.
As a trustee, I want to go on the record and make sure that's in the minutes.
It's on the record.
I would like to make a motion to approve block-by-block program.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded to approve the block-by-block program. Any discussion?
Yes, I would like to refer this to the attorney because this was tabled to committee, and the committee meeting is next week.
Mayor, she just said in her statement that she okay with both programs existing. Now all of a sudden she wants to table it. Come on.
It was already
tactics.
It was already tabled.
They don't want to get a house to the people, but they gave it to their friends.
Hang on, trustees.
Don't say
Madam Clerk just advised me that it was tabled to the committee. That table still stands, and it has to go in front of the committee, which is next week.
Okay, well then I'll say this for the record. Residents, pay attention to how this board vote up here. I'm so grateful that it is an election on February 26th.
Yeah.
Make sure you vote how they voted for your program.
Yeah. Okay. That was public safety announcement. But at any rate, we're past that. Next thing on the agenda.
Yeah, they were voted out. Hey, Slowmite, BP Capital. I have to do an entirely separate live for BP Capital. This is just Invest in Dalton, which is kind of intertwined with BP Capital. It is just an absolute shit show. But let's hear from a resident, shall we? On this wonderful deal with BP Capital and Invest in Dalton. Let me find her. There she is. Let's hear from a resident. How come the mics are great this year? Yeah, how come? Stephen. Here we go.
Now, this is Mrs. Slaughter. She is the resident here that her house has been taken, and she spoke with the representative from BP Capital prior to the expiration date of her being able to file to get the house back. They said they would get back to her. They never got back with her, and they took her house. Her house was in fact vacant, but she had boarded, someone had broken into it. She had boarded it up herself, secured it herself, and they went after the house. And the house needs very little rehab on it. And that's what we're finding out, is all these houses that they're taking are the ones that need very little rehabilitation. And they're selling these houses, and they are getting the revenue. So, Ms. Slaughter, I just want you to just explain a little bit about, and Chief, this may go a little bit longer than 3 minutes, explain a little bit about what has happened to you that really puts a bad eye, a black eye on our village.
Sure. Okay. I did purchase a property, and I knew I was going to be getting around to working on it a little bit later because I had 2 children in college. So I couldn't work on it right then. I purchased it in 2016. Kids were breaking in.
Oh, thank you, Tracy.
Kids were breaking in, so I boarded it up. One day I saw this man out in the driveway. I said to him, "Excuse me, can I help you with something?" He says, "Oh, I'm going to be working on this house. This is going to be mine." I said, "No, this house isn't for sale." He said, "Well, that's not what I heard." I said, "Well, it's not." He said, "Well, what do you know?" So I didn't tell him very much. I left. Well, then I went back because he was still hanging around. I said, "I own this property, so it is not for sale." He left. Didn't hear anything else about it. A few months later, I happened to drive up. He's inside. I said, what are you doing in my house?" He says, "This is not your house. This is mine." He said, "If you don't believe me, go down to the village." I flew down here. I started asking around. They said, "Well, are the taxes behind?" Well, yeah, I knew the taxes were behind, but I knew I had a certain amount of time to redeem them. So I wasn't worried about it. I called him up and I said, because he had given me his number. The lawyer had given me a number. Come to find out, he's a lawyer on both sides, which is a huge conflict of interest as far as I'm concerned. But I told him I'm not interested. He said, "Well, you know what?" He says, "I'm busy right now. I'll call you back." He knew, but I didn't know that my time was expiring because they were trying to get the deed. So next thing I know, the time has expired. He never got back to me. But he knew up front, the guy from BP Capital, he drives a black Cadillac truck. I talked to him on 2 occasions. So he knew that it wasn't for sale, or wasn't vacant. He knew that it was mine. But they went behind my back and took it anyway. I worked hard for that. That was a place that I was going to have to go to. And so I'm very upset. I need my place back. No one's offered me a penny. There was not anything wrong with it. And I am mad as hell. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And I want to know what what the board is going to do about this guy that you guys hired to do this. We have a bunch of vacant property that's really horrible. They didn't go after that stuff. That's the stuff that needs to be taken care of, because I've been out here for 25 years and there's stuff that was vacant the day I moved out here. It's still vacant. Why didn't they go for that? If they want to make Dalton beautiful, let's go for the stuff that's really, really bad.
Right.
Okay? No, they cherry picked the stuff that they wanted, and you guys let them do it. You let it do it to people. We've been here. This is our stuff we worked hard for, and you guys want to let them take this? Yeah. Is that what you want to do?
Yes. Well, I'm going to tell you, Ms. Slaughter, I'm going to do everything in my power, and the clerk, along with me, is going to help to get your property back.
Well, I appreciate that.
There's properties that, like I said earlier, the clerk and myself went to court and we were successful in having those cases dismissed, and those homeowners got their property back. There's properties that they're taking that no one has responded to. Why? And you're taking those. Why do you want to take the ones that the residents are responding to?
Yes,
he knew.
I mean, head honcho knew. I told him. Go ahead,
how greedy do you want to be? You know, the program is just terrible. We're not getting a dime for any of those properties. It's terrible. And I agree with you, Ms. Wells, in regards to we need to take a look and get rid of BP Capital. I agree with you.
Yes, they need to go, especially when they know that something's not vacated. So yes, they need to go.
And they're selling some of these houses for $40,000 and more, and the village don't get a dime.
Yes. And I paid my hard-earned cash for that. My money, cash. I worked hard for that I can't get back. What's up with that? And you know what? I haven't been to any board meetings, and that's my fault. But for the first time that I come in here, because I decided I got to start getting involved and do stuff, I don't know what's going on up here. But this is really, we need to work together as a village. This is tearing us apart. I've never in my life seen anything like this. I've been sitting back here just in awe. We need to get together. I mean, we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Do you guys know what the Pledge of Allegiance means? That we all stand together? Where is that at up here? You guys not showing us how to stand together? Jesus.
All right,
thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, Ms. Slaughter.
Please.
So, they were taking away homes, other people's homes. But let's see how BP Stubbs treats the residents, shall we? Let's play a little bit of that. Where is it? Where are you, Stubbs? Lovely, lovely Stubbs. And you want to run for township trustee, right? Oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? I had you in here. I have you in here. Something else. Oh, I got two fighting videos. Which one do I play? Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves while I find this, because this is important. Let me see. Thought I had it in the lineup. Lord have mercy. Oh, here it is. I found it. Staring me right in the face. Sometimes it's hard to find these things. Now, where'd it go? I just saw it. Okay, I found it again. Sorry. This is just too much. Oh, maybe I can't play it. I didn't put it through the processor. Doggone it. Maybe I'll do that while I... So there's a resident that kept... It's okay, Bear. Go catch that mouse. There's a mouse that actually jumped in Bear's food container while I was sitting here doing a live, and I wish you would just go catch the mouse. Ugh. So let me just play one. So, what was the outcome of VP Capital and Invest in Dalton? Let me play it for you. Terrible. Here we go.
Is old business item A, resolution number 19R-008, terminating a redevelopment agreement subject to fulfillment of Invest in Dalton requirement, BP Capital. Can I get a motion on this resolution?
I'd like to make a motion that we pass resolution number 19R-008.
Get a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to, for the termination of redevelopment agreement subject to fulfillment, Invest in Dalton requirement for BP Capital, resolution number 19R-008. Any discussion?
Yes, may I speak, Mayor?
Go ahead.
I just have a question. In terminating this agreement that will involve us having to pay, I believe it was $45,000 per house. Is that my understanding? If we terminate this agreement with the company, then we're responsible to pay $45,000 for each house that he's not able to complete.
That $45,000 was in regards to the Invest in Dalton, not into the redevelopment agreement for BP Capital. So what this is saying, that we will go forward and fulfill, at this time, we'll go forward and fulfill the Invest in Dalton, which is the 6 houses that would apply to that penalty, but not subjected to the original agreement of all the other houses.
Thank you.
Okay.
And being recognized, Mayor.
Go ahead.
This is the BP Capital was the highly unpopular thing that the last board passed, and we got this from Attorney Murphy that as of the Friday, they got 14 more homes. So I think it's a total of maybe 38, close to 40 something homes, and all these people transferred to a company called BLC Home Construction LLC, located in Northbrook, Illinois. So I just want to put that on the residents now to remember that this company that we're cutting the contract with now, majority of them homes went to outside owners, didn't go to homeowners or residents of Dolton, and went to investors. So just remember that. So that's why we're cutting it for sure.
And we're researching who that LLC company is. We know that the first house that was put on the market, that was put on the market and sold for, what was it, 142,000?
147.
157,000. 47,000 was sold by the law partner of Anthony Bass' son. His law partner, Anthony Bass's law partner, Rosso. That house was sold by his son. We feel there's a conflict of interest, certainly, but that's going to be looked into. It actually is being looked into right now. Any further discussion on this?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure I understand what this is going to do. This is to give back all the properties, or is it the ones they are currently going after?
The ones that's currently going out.
Okay, for instance, they got, 20 or so properties that they got that we gave them the deed to?
About 38, from what I understand now.
Okay, and then you just said that they got 14 more as of Friday?
That's included.
Including.
It's included in 38?
Yes.
Okay, so are we trying to reverse that, or what exactly?
Well, at this
will we
point,
be
I don't
doing?
think we can reverse it. The liens have been entered into court. It was granted by the court. The deeds have been issued, and the clerk, Madam Clerk, signed off on Friday.
Okay, so we just canceling the agreement. We're not basically taking back the 38 houses, right?
Right.
All right, got it.
Yeah. Okay, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Denton.
Yes.
Trustee Steve.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Trustee House? Hello?
Lost him.
You want to dial them back?
He's on the,
No, it was on mute. I'm sorry.
aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
Trustee Holmes.
Aye.
Trustee Hendrick.
Aye.
Six ayes, motion passed. Next.
So that was the end result. Invest in Dalton and BP Capital. But there's a lot more to discuss on BP Capital. And as you can see, this is an absolute mess. But let's see how BP Stubbs treats the residents, in which she is running for Thornton Township trustee. She was a one-term trustee. Muhammad and Pearson, who you saw on that board in this Invest in Dalton BP Capital fiasco, they are supporting BP Stubbs. Let's see how BP Stubbs treats the residents. Let me bring it up. Put it through the processor so you could see who she is. Here we go.
We taught this in our church. Yes. You're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. If you don't love yourself, you're in trouble.
That's right, I agree. I totally agree. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have executive session out of this, so we want to kind of complete this citizens address. There's an issue that we need to go into executive session for shortly. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, residents and trustee board and mayor. Okay, I'm confused here. Is Invest in Dalton and BP Capital the same thing, or are they different entities?
The gentleman just stated that there are two different entities, two separate.
So is he in charge of both of them, or?
No.
So, okay, who did we pay the $30,000 to?
We paid it to the attorney Bass.
Okay.
For Invest in Dalton, we've talked about this, for the 6 houses that we are able to raffle off, hopefully real soon, next month.
So who has the 6 houses? We have the 6 houses?
Yes, we have 4 of those titles. We're waiting on 2 more, and then we could have a raffle.
So all that money is coming to Dalton?
It's, what money?
You said we got 6 houses.
We have 4 houses.
We got 4 houses.
We have 4 houses with Invest in Dalton, okay? Mm-hmm. Right now, we're waiting on 2 other houses, so we'll have a total of 6. That was the $30,000. That's Invest in Dalton. I'll give you a flyer so you can come to our event on the 14th. And that's going to cost $40,000. They invest in Dalton, the 6 houses, $40,000. BP Capital have its own money to rehab the houses.
So BP Capital working with Invest in Dalton? Is that what's going on, or how did they even?
I just explained it to you. Thank you.
You could. You know what? That was totally uncalled for, because see, I'm trying to get an understanding.
Yes, ma'am.
We put you in there, and we will take. You know what? You know what? That's right. That was totally uncalled for. That was totally. I have never disrespected.
I'm sorry.
You know what?
You
know what, people? This is citizens address. We need to. You know what? We need to take our village over. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We need to get our own board. We need to get we need to have our voices heard without people getting ignorant with us and trying to belittle us and belittle our men. You know what? You know what?
This is what you do at every board
This is
meeting,
citizen. This
and you
is
ask
citizen
me a
address.
question, and I
and you
answered
know what?
it.
And you're
And you
supposed to
do it
answer
at
my
every
question.
board
And you are
meeting,
supposed to
and
answer my question
you
until
sit
I
up here
understand.
and
There's
you
no
insult
such thing
me
as a
at
stupid
every
question.
board
I'm
meeting.
done with you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. We paid to put you in that position. You know, you and I
Hold on, we had a conversation.
It's really up to you to listen to the residents, regardless of how right or wrong they may be. You don't have a right to speak to them in that tone of manner. We pay your
What
salary.
tone are you talking
We're
about?
talking about you.
What tone are you talking about? What tone are you? In order to get respect, you must respect. So I give you all the same respect. Okay? That's what you say. I say different. I say different. Whatever God have for me, I still will work.
That's it. Order right now. We have another speaker, Mr. Creighton.
I always bring God in my
Order.
Yeah. BP Stubbs. But let me just kind of push this home before we get off of this live stream. From somebody that knows BP Stubbs.
Thanks, Mr. Dorsey.
Welcome. Good evening. Come as a resident tonight. I'm gonna talk to a lady I used to call Mama. Trustee Stubbs, look at me when I'm talking to you. Please. Don't act like you don't ignore me. Because I have a lot to tell about you. And you know, we used to sit in your room, in your house, and you know how you came against you because I said, why are you in the bed with Muhammad? Why are you in the bed with Pearson? Mama, what's the outcome? What did you tell me? What did you tell me? I asked you about BP Capital. Why would you take an organization out? Because you said they were ran by who? Forgive my language. Racist slurs against the ethnical group that they need to get out of here because they're doing nothing. And I told you they do more for me than any of you. But yet, I want to know. BP Capital. Den, trustee, I love you. I came to you from my heart, sweetie, when we got out here for you and pushed my tail off of y'all and prayed that y'all would do the right thing. And you sit up here. You the angel in this book. I didn't hold nothing against you, but you sit up here. And you know that woman dirty. I used to listen to her talk about Joyce Myers, the Bible, all that. Trustee Den, I just want the truth here tonight. I'm coming as a resident and I'm coming as a homeowner. I have nothing else to say but the truth. I always talk help, but I'm sick of it. Because we pouring our souls out here. We giving our all. And y'all sitting up here playing with us like it's nothing. You letting that woman tell you, say it's okay. Don't you do this. Don't you do that. And you sit in the back zone. That woman don't run nobody. She stepped out her body and she's not acting right. I just want to know one thing. If you're giving BP Capital 600 houses and we in $1 million deficit, right? Let's just say we charge what? Let's just say we charge $2,000 per house. Ain't that a good investment for anybody? $2,000, $4,000. That gives us $1.5 million that we just say we'll give it away, or we'll pay trustees, or we'll pay their lawyers. You know what, y'all? It's a shame, but ain't nothing we can do. That's why you can sit up there, Muhammad, so cool, so relaxed, bro. It ain't nothing we can do. We messed up. We trusted you. I messed up, but I won't do it again. But I can tell you what, y'all all live in Dalton, right? I have 20 people outside of your house every day protesting until you leave this land.
Sorry about that. So, BP Stubbs is running for township trustee with the backing of Muhammad and Pearson. She is. Yeah. Yeah. What is good for this village? So you're gonna like vote Stubbs in because I don't know, 6x8 cells. They're pretty small, pretty small. All of this is true. You just saw everything with Invest in Dalton. And she's running for township trustee. Maybe I'm picking on Stubbs, but she's running for office again. Why don't you ask these questions? FBI, I hope you're listening. Maybe you want to take a look at that. BP Capital, Invest in Dalton. What the hell is the difference? Nobody can figure it out. And you heard Ed Steves and Rogers. Did those 6 houses go to residents? What happened to the $30,000? What happened to it? Went to the lawyer. But did the people get those 6 houses? And we'll hear a lot more about BP Capital. I appreciate you listening. I know this is a long live, but we had to do it in chronological, I can't pronounce that word. Cynthia helped me out with it. Order, so you can understand what was happening in 2017, 2018, and 2019. This village has always been in debt, and it always will be, because they don't know how to manage. They're giving houses away, just simply giving them away. And then they had to pay $45,000 per house. You heard it from Ed Steve and Mayor Rogers. Are they lying? And what's going to happen in the township? I hold all elected officials accountable. I produce facts and the truth. Sometimes that truth hurts. But BP Stubbs, you know, you got up in a dress and you were concerned about FOIA requests before Henyard came into office. You also were concerned about bonds, in which you voted for every year. Thank you very much, Tracy Gay. There is a lot more to come with BP Capital. Because remember, these are 2 separate. I'm sorry, my mother's got her murder mystery on. So you hear somebody screaming in the background. They're supposed to be separate, but they're intertwined. And we're certainly going to hear from the owner of BP Capital that you cannot find online. But I think that's about it for now. I have worked all day on this presentation as it occurred. Thank you. I appreciate it, Cynthia. I am exhausted. But I appreciate you listening. Please like, and if you so desire, subscribe. You will get nothing but the facts here, nothing but the truth. And you're very welcome, Karen. I appreciate it. Okay, everybody, let's get the flock out of here. And oh, wait a minute. Should I? Because I think I deserve this again. I really do. I deserve this. Okay. Thank you all so very much and have a good evening. Bye-bye.